because in classes, the students and the teacher, so it's a very challenging time for anyone to either to speak or to listen. Anyway, as far as I am concerned, since my timing was pre-known from 2 o'clock to 1:30, and it takes about 20 minutes for me to come from my home to this place. So I was in a dilemma whether to have lunch or not, because normally I have a very heavy lunch, and after heavy lunch what happens? We all don't know. Right. So let me start with there were two young ladies when I was sitting here. So they asked a question. I said, okay, you ask me a question. Right? So in fact, I told them, you can start ragging me, asking me questions. So then they asked me, sir, did you undergo any ragging in your academy? I said, yes. I don't know whether it still continues in the... Yes, it continues. So I said, that's not the purpose. So I gave them little tips about it. So one young lady asked me a question. So what was the question? Where is she? Is she there? She's not there. Yeah. So the question was, what motivated you to join the Indian Air Force? Let me start from there. Perhaps you all will answer the question, isn't it? The answer to that question was, I had nil knowledge about the Air Force when I was a student in Karkala Bombing College. Not that I didn't know anything about armed forces. NCC student, so therefore I had some knowledge about, I have attended an NCC camp also. And I've seen a very smart officer from Karkala, Captain Ramesh Kamath at the time. And I also had seen NCC Commander Major Konaka. So I remember all those, the picture is right in front of me. But I never dreamt that I must put on uniform and they join the armed force. So as my luck would have it, I got a job in Pune. Right? So the job in Pune was, you know what was the job? The job was auditing the accounts of the Southern Military Command Pune. It's a central government job, auditor's job. So that was the time when I came across armed forces, you know, especially the Army, Southern Command, Southern Military Army Command. So one day we had gone to a Irani restaurant, you know, in Pune, in Mumbai. So, you are Mumbai? So, Irani restaurants are plenty. Everywhere you go, chai, Irani chai. So, we were having a cup of tea during your working hours. So, there was one Krishna Rao. So, he said, he was reading the newspaper. He said, सुनो देखो कार्मिक एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट है ये तेरे लिए फिट बनता है फिट रहता है. So I said, I looked at it, it was all Indian Air Force advertisement, recruitment advertisement for commissioned officers in the accounts branch of the Indian Air Force. So I said, okay, at the end bottom it is written that you should apply to the office. If you are a government employee, you must apply to your department. So I went with that advertisement to the superior, my boss at the time, Senior Deputy Director of Audit Defense Services, Mr. Elias Nageshwaran. So I told him, sir, I want to apply. He looked at it, oh my God, very good. He said, yes, you must. Okay, if you make it, nothing like that. Leave this department, no problem. If you join the Air Force, no problem. That's all I knew about it, nothing else. And when I landed up in what do you call, number 2 Mysore Selection Board for interview, I was absolutely raw. You know, you say the culture. Absolutely raw, nothing. I didn't even know how to put on a tie. Someone taught me, so this is how, and about as far as the selection board process is concerned, it's now more than 50 years. I went to selection board in 1968 beginning. Now it is 2024. So I really don't know whether a lot of changes have taken place. Maybe Bharat will tell you whether it is the same or it is more or less it is the same. So we were put through a lot of IQ tests and little physical tests, public speaking. You are given a topic for 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes time to refresh yourself, and you are not allowed to go to library or anything. You can just go to a corner and look at, reflect over, and then come and speak in English. Just imagine, those days in Karkala, what did we speak? We spoke only Kannada, Tulu, Konkani, that's all. So we never spoke English in the foreign villages. And I was in Pune only for about 6-7 months, and there also local guys used to speak Marathi and Hindi. So that's how it is. So I was not confident enough to speak English. But anyway, I went through all processes, and the surprise of all the surprises at the end of the day, after all everything was over, when they announced the result, chest number 28, please stand up. And the rest, please go to the truck, pack your luggage, and off you go. And chest number 28 was myself. So that's how I landed up in the academy. Now, what I'm trying to say is, for all of you, if you think that you would like to join the armed forces as an officer, I'm not going to talk about Agniveer scheme, because you are coming here to become graduates. Obviously, as after graduates, you will become an officer in that is the avenue open to you. There are various, CDS is there, Combined Defense Services Examination you have to write, direct application is there. So all those things are there. But then, if you want to become an officer, finally, ultimately, land up in the training establishment, training academy, there is only one door, that's all, and that is service selection board. Without that, there is no way you can get into the armed forces. And these days, I am told there are a lot of coaching establishments. Yes, David, coaching, a lot of coaching is going on. But what's your advice? See, I am very glad that he is also agreeing with me. You don't go there after taking coaching in whatever it is. You go as fresh as possible. Okay? Be honest, present yourself as you are. And that's what is looked at, your leadership qualities, your capabilities. These are the things the armed forces, they look whether you possess, whether you have it in you, those qualities which are required for an officer in the armed forces. That's all. If you don't make it, no problems. If you don't make it, no problems. Because it only means you have better capabilities, better qualities, or better aptitude that you do much better somewhere else. It could be. I'll just give one example. How many of you know President Abdul Kalam? Abdul Kalam, you all know, isn't he? Okay, an inspiring figure. Now, do you know what was his background as far as armed forces are concerned? Anyone know? Anyone? President Abdul Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam, he had gone to Dehradun and appeared in the Air Force Selection Board to become an officer, technical officer in the Indian Air Force. Are you aware? Any of you are aware? Has anyone read his book? What is it? Wings of Time. Right? You must read that book. Very inspiring book. And unfortunately, he was not selected. Okay? He was not selected. He was crestfallen. He was dejected. Right? He came to Delhi. Then, I think that department was DRDO, whatever is the department. He had applied, perhaps again they called for interview. He gave the interview and he was through. And see where he landed. His achievements. So therefore, I am giving this example just to say that make it as a career option. Throw a stone. If it hits, well and good. If a mango doesn't fall, nothing is lost, only a stone is lost. You have gained some experience. The 5 days of service selection board experience. Okay. Then I would like to give you some more input as to the structure of the armed forces, the role of the armed forces, all those things. You know, because if you are aspiring from the question that the young lady asked me, I feel some of you may be inclined to take a look at the armed forces as a career option. I have known Commander Dharwa, who was a student here. At that time, I don't know what motivated him to look at armed forces, whether he was thinking years, but finally I'm so happy that I'm seeing him as a commander today. So if you have, maybe sometimes, some of you, maybe after a couple of years, same way you will come and sit here. It will be a matter of great joy and happiness to see you in uniform and address the students then. So armed forces, you know, for example, we have being in Air Force, normally I face an embarrassing question. You know, what is that embarrassing question I face when some students or somebody asks me? What could be the embarrassing question? What are the aircraft, what all aircraft have you flown MiG-21? Have you flown, say, Sukhoi? Have you flown something like that? They will ask me. So what is the answer I give? What answer I can give? I say, I am a ground duty officer, I am not a pilot. Okay? So this is how, it's a bit embarrassing because everyone thinks outside the knowledge is limited under the armed forces. So as far as the Air Force is concerned, we have got flying branch, we have got ground duty. These are the two separation for officers. Okay? In the ground duty branch, we have got technical branch. Okay? Engineers, all of you engineers, you are all eligible to apply for engineering branch. In that you have tech armament, tech, I'm forgetting, communication, electronics, a lot of subdivisions in the technical branch itself. And in the non-technical branch, you have got logistics, you have got accounts and finance, you have got administration, you have got education. So like Army, Navy, Air Force, we all have branches. So who are the real soldiers? Pilots. In the Air Force is concerned, pilots. They are the people who fight, who go into the enemy territory, who fly the aircraft, who bomb, who take on the incoming enemy aircraft and engage in aerial combat. They carry missiles. All these things are there the soldiers. They are the warriors. They are the fighters. We are the support staff. Similarly, maybe you have not logistics branch, executive branch, and so on. Army also has got supply, engineers, signals. So these are all the various branches. So, and the armed forces are becoming more and more technical, very, very technically oriented. So these days everything is sophisticated. Very recently, on 20th of this month, last month I was in Delhi. We had a rain, you know. We still continue to see armed forces as a tradition. We don't just, after our retirement, we just don't forget. So we try and meet each other. We present the set of officers and the retired fraternity. So I was talking to all young officers, very young junior officers. So I said, look, a lot of computerization takes place. Anything new in your job profile these days? They said, sir, we are being trained, an accounts officer, mind you, we are being trained in, some word they used. I'm not able to repeat that word. But I understand that we are being trained in handling drones, drone operations. I was surprised when I accounts officer and Aero officer being trained for. I had known all of the engine officers, administrative ground duty officers, everyone was being given an offer, the chance to become a paratrooper. Okay. I also got a chance, unfortunately, I could not join the training at that time. Due to some personal reasons, I could not join. Otherwise, I also would have become a parajumper. After that, if you do very well, you can also become a PJI, para jumping instructor. So that missed opportunity. But my coursemate, some of them become PJIs. So this is the new, change that is coming about. So therefore, sky is the limit for your growth and for your progress, right? So for joining the armed forces, we must start thinking, start preparing now itself. In the sense, certain amount of, these days, like when I went to the academy, if I say I am a become graduate and I have scored, say 55% or 58%, that was accepted, no problem. But today, I think, when you go to the academy, when you go to the service selection board, the first thing they do is to verify your documents. Okay, documents are being verified. Because a lot of fraud is taking place in the country, a lot of fraudulent certificates and things are happening. So therefore, that is one thing that is happening these days. So therefore, if they find anything amiss, you are sent back. You just much before whatever the processes are, you allow those processes. Okay. So this is how it is. And then the other day, two gentlemen came to me. Those are doing MCOM in Mumbai. So their parents are, their people are here. They have come and do something. They came and asked me. So they had absolutely no knowledge where to find, how to go about the opportunities. I told them, have you heard of employment news? How many of you have heard this word, employment news? Is there anyone who has seen an employment news in your library? Any student who is in the, say, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th semester? What are the semesters? What semesters you are? So if you are not seen employment news, if your library does not have employment news, the principal has just come, you must have employment news in the library. And you must develop the habit of looking into the employment news. And it is available on your mobile. You just click employment news, it will give you everything. That gives you the entire information about not only the armed forces, about all public sector undertakings, and also all other paramilitary forces. Right? Please develop this habit right from now itself. Because a lot of reading is involved in that. It runs into 1 or 2 pages. The advertisement runs into 1 or 2 pages. So you have to understand all those things before applying. Because the process is, the selection process is very rigid. They will give everything. You should be born on so-and-so day. Your weight should be like this. Your chest measurement should be like this. There are so many things they will be giving you details. So develop the habit of reading the employment news either online or in the library. I request principal, if it is not available, to get this in the library. Maybe having lunch. It's there now. So that's about service selection board, processes, interviews, etc., etc. I also give you a little bit about myself. And if you, how many minutes, where is the MC? How many minutes for me? How many more? Okay, so I will speak, I will just share my experiences a little bit. I don't know whether it will be, this is 71 war. I was in Assam, okay. What is 71 war? Can somebody tell me? Yeah, 1971 war. Anyone, raise your hand. Anyone? Yes, I'm very glad. Tell me. Loud. East Pakistan was liberated and it became Bangladesh. Yeah. Bangladesh. Very good. Give him a big hand. That prompts me to ask you another question. Because only one hand came up. Only one hand came up. Right? After 1947, 15 August 1947. Tell me the major wars India fought. Yeah. Raise your hands. Let me see. What is 1962? 1962? Huh? Indo-China, very good. You are the only person. Okay, now my next question. Can you, I'm talking about major, I'm not talking about skirmishes, the border skirmishes. I'm not talking about that. Can you tell me major wars we fought? 1999 Kargil, all right. That is before, okay, Goa liberation, yes, after independence, correct. You are right, 1862. That is a 2 days operation, that's a very small, okay. Yeah. Kargil.
Yes, sir.
What about 1965? What happened? There's a movie also on that. Lal Bahadur Shastri, have you heard his name?
Yes, sir.
You have heard his name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he was the?
Prime Minister.
Very good. So, you have forgotten the most important war we fought immediately after independence. What is that? I'll give a clue. 370.
Article 370.
Yes. Yes. It is related to what?
Kashmir.
That's correct. Then what happened to Kashmir after independence?
It was POK, Pak occupied Kashmir.
So, my dear students, now that I am a Air Force, my brother is an Army, and we are what Navy. So, you must know about the contemporary history. I am not asking you about when Alexander came to India or when Ghazi Muhammad came to India. I am not asking that. I am asking you only what are the four or five important. The first operation was Kashmir. Okay, immediately after the independence, the Pakistanis invaded. They called it as a tribal, rebellion or invasion or whatever it is, but it was not. It was an organized attack, invasion by the Pakistani army and to gobble up, capture Kashmir. Right? History of Kashmir, please, all of you, read and get to know more about what happened, why it happened, why you went to the United Nations, what are the results, and what are the consequences, what price we have paid, and what price we are paying till today. All these things you must know. You are the modern future builders of India. Right? Then, 1965, again, Indo-Pak War, and then there's a major operation was IPKF operations. What is that IPKF operations? All right. Indian peacekeeping force were Sri Lanka during Rajiv Gandhi's time. Anyway, I will not go into the greater details of it, but I am only saying that you should know that the current contemporary history of your nation, armed forces about that. So I was talking about 1971 operations. So you may be interested to know what we were doing. Those days, they were not getting any news at all. No, like there is no mobile, no TV, nothing. We had no TV now, people. Only a transistor. That's all. Limited information. So I went to, the war was over, started on 3rd of December and the war was over on which date? 16th of December. Okay? 93,000 Pakistani soldiers surrendered. You can see in YouTube, you can see the videos of the surrender ceremony. For a soldier, there can't be greater insult and humiliation than taking out his cap and belt and all this and surrendering it to the enemy commander. And that happened to the Pakistani soldiers. Anyway, that's one. But what I'm trying to tell you is my experience. I have gone to Dhaka. While coming back, it was on 5th of January 1972. We took off from Dhaka around in a helicopter around maybe 2:30. We were to come to Shillong and land in Shillong. And it was all, we were so happy, we were 14 people in the helicopter, the Mi-4 helicopter. We were chatting and there were three air crew, 3 officers, and myself, 4 officers, and another about 10 soldiers. So we are supposed to reach land in Shillong within 2 hours and 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So as I was watching, the time is over and the helicopter is not landing, it is circling, it is going here and there. Then, right in front of me, right in front of Budambare, he is the air signaller, he has got the headset on his head and he is communicating with the people. So, because of the rotor, we cannot talk, the voice will not be heard. He can, because he is using the headset, he can communicate with the pilot sitting in the deck. So I asked him, what is happening by signal? He understood. So in signal he said, bad weather all over, we are not able to land. We are not able to land in Shillong. Bad weather all over. Okay, and if you don't land, what happens? So that was the situation. Then it dawned upon me that we are in a very precarious situation. Then he also said, like this. That means satellite airfield in Assam, that is Jorhat, Bakogra, Chabua, Kundirgram, and even Kalaikunda. These are all satellite airfields within a range of say half an hour, 45 minutes. Everywhere weather is bad and no night landing facility. Okay, you need to have night landing facilities. Then they took a call to go back to Dhaka. So we returned, we started flying back to Dhaka. After some time, maybe another 5-10 minutes, what happened was, that was very, very serious. He came and opened the auxiliary tank in where we are sitting, we are in the cabin, in the big cabin, 10 of us were sitting, there's a huge auxiliary tank. Okay, so he opened the connection to the engine for reserve fuel we were carrying. Okay, reserve fuel we were carrying. Just imagine, when I asked him like this, he said, that means we have got another 5 to 8 minutes of fuel, and if we don't land in Dhaka in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we are finished. That is the situation I went through. It dawned upon me. I started, praying, visualizing, everything came in front of me. Okay. Fortunately, we landed in Dhaka in the next 5 minutes and we were safe. The first thing we did was a big salute, big thanks to the Mother Earth and to the pilots who made it easy and made us to land. Today, even his pilot, and he understands all these, the day when General Rawat crashed, that was the day I remember this again. So these days, anytime I enter an aircraft, I remember this incident. So this is one experience I thought I'd share with you. Similarly, I have plenty of experiences. I spent about 7 years in Assam. I have spent about 3 years in Punjab. I have seen, the terrorism, the Sikh terrorism in Punjab, Khalistan movement at that time. On the day I was in Amritsar on a day, I had gone there for some duty in the convoy. On that day, the Inspector General or DG or whatever rank, officer, his name is Govind Ram. He was blown up in his office. That was the situation I have seen. So these are all some of the real life situation experiences. A lot of experience in Assam, Punjab, and of course the remaining is during Kargil war. I was in the headquarters. I was in Delhi. So this is how I have gone through. But if you ask me, what would be your career option in your next life, I would say Indian Air Force. With this, I thank you very much to all of you. Hope to see you in the Army Force. Thank you.
Sleep well, my mother. Sleep well, my father. Another beautiful dawn is on its way. Sleep well, my sister. Sleep well, my brother. There are still stars in the sky. Sleep well, my daughter. Sleep well, my son. May all your dreams be sweet. Sleep well, my motherland, while I watch over you from far above. I will let nothing come between me and all that I love.
I would like to welcome retired Captain Kervashe Ganesh Karnik and our Principal Niranjan and Chitrumkar to the event. Our event gains even more altitude as we welcome retired Captain Kervashe Ganesh Karnik. Captain Kervashe Ganesh Karnik is an Indian former military officer and politician who was a member of the Karnataka Legislative Council. He is a retired captain of the Indian Army and served along the north, east and western borders of India and voluntarily retired from the service. He has served Nitte Education Trust in various positions and continues to serve in honorary and professional capacities. With a unique perspective to share, let's welcome Ganesh Karnik to the stage and discover the insights he brings to our aero modeling journey.
ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕನ್ನಡನ? I thought there are some schools, so pardon me, I'll switch over to my mother tongue, okay? My brother, Air Vice Marshal Ramesh Karnik, ನಮ್ಮ ನಿಟ್ಟೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ತರುವಂಥ ಲೆಫ್ಟಿನೆಂಟ್ ಕಮಾಂಡರ್ ದಿವಿನ್, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಬಲ್ಬೀರ್ ಸಿಂಗ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನಿಟ್ಟೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾದ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಚಿಪ್ರೂಣ್ಕರ್ ಅವರೇ ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಕೂಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರಲ್ಲ. ಸೇನೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಣ್ಣ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಇದೆ MRP ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಕೇಳಿದರೆ ಇಲ್ವಾ? MRP ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ನ ನವರತ್ನ ಕಂಪನಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಆ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜಿಂಗ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಮಗ. ತಂದೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಸೀಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು, ಅದು CET ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡು PUC ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಕಾಲೇಜು, ನಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಸರಿದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆರ್ಮಿ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಸೀಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವನು JEE ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಆರ್ಮಿಗೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಕದವನು ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ಸುರತ್ಕಲ್ ಹೋಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಸುರತ್ಕಲಲ್ಲಿ PUC ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ JEE ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಆಧಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಈ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಅವರು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದರೆ JEE ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಬರೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಖರ್ಚಿನಲ್ಲಿ 1 ನಯ ಪೈಸೆ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಆರ್ಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿಗೆ ಸೇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಭಾಗ ಆರ್ಮಿ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ರೆಜಿಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಶ್ಮೀರದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಸೈನಿಕರನ್ನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ರೈಫಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ವಿಭಾಗ ಇದೆ, ಜಮ್ಮು ಕಾಶ್ಮೀರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. 27-28 ವರ್ಷ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಿ 4 ತಿಂಗಳಾಗುವಾಗ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಒಂದು ದುರ್ಘಟನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟೆರರಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅವನು ಪ್ರಾಣಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನಾನು ನೀವು ಇವತ್ತು ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯದ ಹೆಸರು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ನಮಗೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಜನವರಿ 26ಕ್ಕೆ ಫ್ಲಾಗ್ ಹಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಿಜಾಪುರ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಧ್ವಜ ಎತ್ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾರ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ದಿನದ 24 ಗಂಟೆ 365 ದಿವಸ ಯಾವ ಹಬ್ಬ ಹರಿದಿನ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೆಂಡತಿ, ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ತಂದೆ, ತಾಯಿ, ಬಂಧು, ಬಳಗ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರಿಗೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಮರೆತುಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ನೀವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಸುಖದ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಸೈನಿಕರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗಾಗಿ ದೇಶ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡುವ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಯಾಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಎಂಜೆಡ್ ಆಗಿರೋಂಥ ದಿವಿನಿಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಸೇನೆಗೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ನನ್ನ ಅಣ್ಣ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ನಾನು ಸೇನೆಗೆ ಸೇರಿದೆ. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಶೇರ್ ವಿತ್ ಯು, ನನ್ನ ಕೊನೆಯ ತಮ್ಮನ ಮಗ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಅಮೆರಿಕದಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದವನು. ಆಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್ ಅವನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕದ ಏರ್ಫೋರ್ಸಿಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಸೇರಿದ. ಪಂಜಾಬಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪೋಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪಂಜಾಬ್ ಗುರುದಾಸ್ಪುರದಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು. ಪ್ರತಿ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಕೆಲಸ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಸಂಪತ್ತಿರಲಿ, ನಾನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವ ಯುನಿಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂಥ ಸೈನಿಕರ ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, 50 ಎಕರೆ ಜಮೀನು ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಇವತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಅಣ್ಣ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನಾಳೆ ನಿಮ್ಮದು SLC ಆಯಿತು, PUC ಆಯಿತು, ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಪಡ್ತೀರಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ? ಆ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಪಡುವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವು ನನ್ನ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಸೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಆರ್ಮಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ ಫುಟ್ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು, ನಾಲ್ಕು ಇರಬಾರ್ದು, ಕಲರ್ ಬ್ಲೈಂಡ್ನೆಸ್ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು, ಚೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ ಇಷ್ಟಿರಬೇಕು, ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೈಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತಿರೋದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ I forgot your name, the one who was answering NCC cadet. What's your name? NCC ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಜಯ್? ಅಜಯ್ಗೆ ಈಗಲೇ ಅನಿಸ್ತು ನಾನು NCCಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ಕರಿಯರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ನಾನು ಸೇನೆಗೆ ಸೇರ್ತೀನಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಕೋನ ಬದಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನು ನೋಡುವ ರೀತಿಯೇ ಬದಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದ ಹಾಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲದ ಭುವನೇಂದ್ರ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧದ ದಶಮಾನೋತ್ಸವದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧ ಆದದ್ದು ಯಾವಾಗ? 1999. ದಶಮಾನೋತ್ಸವ ಯಾವಾಗ? 10 ವರ್ಷ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ? 2009. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ರ 2009 ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅವಾಗಲ್ವಾ? ಕಾರ್ಕಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ, ಅವನು ಫೈನಲ್ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಇವಾಗ ಆದರ್ಶ್ ಗೋಖಲೆ ಅಂತ. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತು ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. ಅವನು 1 ತಿಂಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಕಳದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಜೂನಿಯರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ನ ಕಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದ. ಥಾಪರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಥೆ ಹೇಳಿದ, ಆಹುಜಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಥೆ ಹೇಳಿದ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಾಣಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಆಯಿತು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, 527 ಜನ ಸೈನಿಕರು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಲಿದಾನ ಆಯಿತು, 1 ಇಂಚು ಭೂಮಿ ಕೂಡ ವಾಪಸ್ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಬರ್ದೇ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದು ವಾಪಸ್ ನಾವು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ, ನಿಮ್ಗೇನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಹುಂಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತೇನೆ, ಆ ಪೆಪ್ಸಿ ಮತ್ತು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರ, ಏನು ಕಾಫಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, ಮ್ಯಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರ ಹೊರಗಡೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಪಾಕೆಟ್ ಮನಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹುಂಡಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಕಾರ್ಕಳದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಂಥ ಹುಡುಗರು 1 ತಿಂಗಳ ಅವಧಿ 44,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಒಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಊಟ ಇತರ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು 66,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 56,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಹಾಕಿ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಸೈನಿಕರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು? ಹೀಗೆ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದಂಥ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಯೋಧನಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಬಾಗಲಕೋಟೆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಾಗಲಕೋಟೆ ಹೆಸರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಬಾಗಲಕೋಟೆ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಬೀಳಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸೈನಿಕ ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ಆಲೂರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕಾರ್ಗಿಲ್ ಯುದ್ಧದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಬ್ ಸ್ಫೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನೊಂದು 2 ಕೈ ತುಂಡಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಾಲು ತುಂಡಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವನನ್ನು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಹುಡುಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ನಾನು ಗೋವಿಂದ ಕಾಲದ ಹಳೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ, ಮಾಜಿ ಸೈನಿಕ, ಆಗ ನಾನು ಶಾಸಕ ಆಗಿದ್ದ, ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಹಾಗೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು ಕರೆದಿದ್ದು. ನೀವು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸನ್ಮಾನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಪೀಠ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಾರ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ, ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಹಂಪಲು ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕಾಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಕಾಲಿರುವುದು, ನಿಲ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ರಂಗಪ್ಪನಿಗೆ. ಮಾತಾಡುವಂತ ಮೈಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ. ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ನನಗೆ ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮೈಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ರಂಗಪ್ಪನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನೋಡು ನಿನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೀನು ಮಾತಾಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದವನು ಒಂದು ಹರಿಜನ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಯುವಕ. ತಂದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವನಿಗೆ, ತಾಯಿ ಹಣ್ಣ ಹುಡುಗಿ, ತಮ್ಮ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಕುರುಡ, ಒಬ್ಬಳು ತಂಗಿ ಅವಳಿಗಿನ್ನೂ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅವನ ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಗುಡಿಸಲು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಗುಡಿಸಿನಷ್ಟು ಜಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಅವತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಯಾರ್ದೋ ಜಮೀನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗುಡಿಸಲು ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂಥ ಕುಟುಂಬ. ಬಾಂಬ್ ಸ್ಫೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಕೈ, ಒಂದು ಕಾಲು ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಶ್ರೀನಗರ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. 8 ತಿಂಗಳುಗಳ ಕಾಲ 8 ಸಲ ಸರ್ಜರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬದುಕ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ಬದುಕಿ ಉಳಿತಾನೆ. ಅವನಿಗೇನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು 2009 ಕರೆದಾಗ ಅವನಿಗೆ ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 6,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ, ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ಈ ಕೆಲಸ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ನೀನು ಮಾತಾಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಈಗ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಕಣ್ಣೀರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. ರಂಗಪ್ಪ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮೈಕ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ದುಡಿದ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಸಾಹೇಬ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನೇನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, 2 ಕೈ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಾಲು ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈನಿಕ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬರ್ತೇನೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಸೈನಿಕ ಆಗ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ಅನಿಸ್ತೀರ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೈನಿಕ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ ರಂಗಪ್ಪನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬಿತವಾದ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಪ್ರೇಮ, ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ. ನಾನು ಮಾಡುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣದ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಗಲ ಮೇಲಿದೆ. ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಟನ್ ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸನ್ ಮದುವೆಯಾಗಿ 2 ತಿಂಗಳು ಹೆಂಡತಿ IIT ಚೆನ್ನೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವನು ಉಳಿದವರ ಹಾಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಚು ಹುಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ಭಯೋತ್ಪಾದಕರನ್ನ ಮಟ್ಟ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಮಗನಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿ 6 ತಿಂಗಳಾಗಿದೆ, ನಾನೇ ಹೋಗಲಿ. ಈಗ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ NSS ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಮಣಿಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಸೇನೆಗೆ ಸೇರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಅರ್ಜಿ ಹಾಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಸೈನಿಕನ ಕೆಲಸ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. ರಂಗಪ್ಪನ ಕತೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಚಪ್ಪಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಆದರೆ ಸೈನಿಕ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಕೈ ಮುಗಿದು ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಲಿದಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ ಸೈನಿಕರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಕೇಳೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಕೇಳೋದು. ನಾಳೆ ನಾನು ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯ ಸ್ಥಾನ ಸ್ವೀಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರವನ್ನು ಕಣ್ಣು ಮುಂದೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ವಾಕ್ಯ, ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ವಾಕ್ಯ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಅಣ್ಣ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು 15th August 1947 ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಡೇ. ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಧ್ವಜಾರೋಹಣ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. 15th August 2014 ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ದೆಹಲಿಯ ಕೆಂಪುಕೋಟೆಯಿಂದ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರವನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. 62 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾರೋ ಬರೆದುಕೊಟ್ಟ ಭಾಷಣ ಓದುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಜನತೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಸಂವಾದ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಭಾಷಣ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ಫಲಿತಾಂಶ ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಣೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ 31 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ದೇಶದ ಜನತೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಳ ಬಹುಮತ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಆಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ದೇಶದ ಜನರ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಸಂಗತಿಗಳು ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ಆಗ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮಾತು ನೆನಪಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹಿಂದಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬರ್ತದ, ನನಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪನೇ ಬರೋದು, ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಪಿछले 68 साल में ಅಂದರೆ 68 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ, ಆವಾಗ 2014ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ 68 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ. पिछले 68 साल में देश का जो मानसिकता है वो ऐसा बना है कि हर एक आदमी यही सोचता है कि इसमें मुझे क्या है, ಯಾವ ಕೆಲಸ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಲಾಭ ಅಂತ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ಫಲಿತಾಂಶದ ಸಂದೇಶ ಇದೆ, ದೇಶ ಬದಲಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಜನ ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದವರು. ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು 2,000 ಜನ कंजूसी ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು बदलना है नहीं बदलना है ना. अब ಹೇಳ್ತಾ है अगर इस देश को बदलना है तो उस सोच से हटके, इसमें मुझे क्या आलोचना ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, उस सोच से हटके हम सब मिलके अगर ये सोचना शुरू करेंगे कि इसमें मेरा क्या है, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣದ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಕಾರ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಂದೇನು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ. ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ, ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಬಿ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಐ ಬಿ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಸನ್, ಐ ಬಿ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್, ಐ ಬಿ ಎ ಗುಡ್ ಟೀಚರ್, ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಡ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು 10 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಒಂದು ಕನಸಿನೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಿದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಏರೋ ಕ್ಲಬ್ ಡಿವಿನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಆಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತೇನು ದಶಮಾನೋತ್ಸವ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ ಕ್ಲಬ್ಬನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ 10 ವರ್ಷದ ನಂತರ ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ತನ್ನನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸಿದ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನು ಮರೆಯದೆ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಏರೋ ಕ್ಲಬ್ನ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಯನ್ನು ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಎತ್ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಏರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ವೇ ಐ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್. ನಾನೇನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ನಾನೊಬ್ಬರೇ ವಿರೋಧ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ನಾನೊಬ್ಬರದ್ದೇನು ಬದಲಾಗತ್ತಾ, ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಬದಲಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮಾತು, ದ ಚೇಂಜ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಸೀ ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವಿದಿನ್, ಬಿ ದ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಗಾಂಧಿ ಸೆಡ್. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಏರೋ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಹೋಗುವುದಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಅದು 4 years or 5 years ago in the neighboring engineering college, I don't remember the Airbus or Boeing. I think Boeing ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ವಿಮಾನ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು, ಆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಇದೇ ಥರ ಏರೋ ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್. ಜಗತ್ತಿನಾದ್ಯಂತ ಬಂದ 150 ಈ ರೀತಿಯ ತಂಡಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಒಂದು ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ತಂಡ 6ನೇ ಸ್ಥಾನ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತು, 6th place. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದ್ಭುತ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ನಾನಿದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ, ನಾನಿದನ್ನು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ, ನಾನೇನೋ ಹೊಸ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಬೈಂದೂರು ಹತ್ತಿರದ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಶಾಲೆಯ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್, ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಮನ್ ಕಿ ಬಾತಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಮನ್ ಕಿ ಬಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ವಾ, ಕುಂದಾಪುರದ ಹುಡುಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಶಾಲೆಯ ಹುಡುಗಿ, ತಾವು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕಂಡಿದೆ. ಅವಳ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್. ಆದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಗವಿಕಲರಿಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವೀಲ್ ಚೇರನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯ ಹುಡುಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲ್ನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿ, ಈ ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಮನ್ ಕಿ ಬಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಉಲ್ಲೇಖ ಮಾಡುವ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಪ್ರೇರಣೆ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನನ್ನಿಂದ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇದೆ, ನಾನು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಸುಖದ ನಿದ್ರೆಗಳಿಗಾಗಿ ಗಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 24 ಗಂಟೆ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಪ್ರಾಣಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಆ ಸೈನಿಕರ ದೇಶಭಕ್ತಿ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೇರಣೆ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ವಾ? And I think this is the message you should all carry. Dylan, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. It is 10 years. I think we have ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ರಮೋದ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾಗಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ since I'm part of the trust, we all contribute immensely. And Professor Balbir Singh, thanks for coming over here. You have a department there. We work together. And my special regards to my brothers for motivating you all. Sir, ತಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೂ ವಿಶೇಷ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಏರೋ ಕ್ಲಬ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಜಾಬ್ ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಗ್ರಾಚುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಮತ್ತು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಫುಲ್ ಖುಷಿಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಈಗ ನೋಡ ಆ ಊರಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಹವಿಂದ್ರ ಜೋಶ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಹವಿಂದ್ರ ಜೋಶ್, ಹಾಂ ಹವಿಂದ್ರ ಜೋಶ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂತ. 2 ಮುಸ್ತಿಬಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾನು 3 ಸಲ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಜಯ ಹಿಂದ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಬಡಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ. ಓಕೆ, 3 ಸಲ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು? ಈ ಶೀಟ್ ಹಾರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಆಗಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್, ರೆಡಿ, ಜಯ ಹಿಂದ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಂ, ಜಯ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜಯ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜಯ ಹಿಂದ್. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Now I would like to welcome Mr. J.P. Rao and Dr. M.R.K. Menon to this event. I would like to invite them to occupy their seats.
We didn't need special invitation.
Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Vyuraj Upadhyaya, Technical Coordinator of Aero Club Nitte Institute of Technology, Nitte, to present memento to the sir.
सबसे बड़ी जंग है तो मैं भी तैयार हूँ।
guest, Lieutenant Commander Devin Bharadwaj, an accomplished maritime reconnaissance pilot. His 2,500 plus flying hours and multiple distinctions in training make him a true luminary in the world of aerospace. Without further delay, let's hear from Lieutenant Commander Bharadwaj as he shares his insights and experience with us.
Good afternoon. There are two very well-renowned guests who have spoken to you. I'm so sorry, I'm not very proficient in Kannada, although I can speak Kannada very fluently, but then not to the level where I can give speeches yet. So, is it okay if I speak in English? All of you are from English medium, right? I'll keep it very plain and simple. Good afternoon, Principal, the distinguished guests present here, Professor Gururaj, all the members of the Aero Club, and all of you, my beloved friends, who are here as a part of this event today. Back when we started the club, we did not only restrict it to the college. It was our initiative that we always welcome the students from the schools. Although that time we used to limit it to only Nitte. But we have made an effort that all of you come here. Why? Because by the time you get to engineering, you have already decided in life where you want to be. But in school, if we can mold you and teach you what to do, you all are the ones whose futures can be shaped. And that is why it is very important for us to build a better nation that will mold and bring up the crowd which is this to that level. So that you can decide and you have a vision as to what to do tomorrow. Based on this pretext, I have a few things to share with you. First of all, thanks again for this wonderful opportunity to speak in front of this lovely crowd. You have today witnessed a lot of dignitaries, very well established dignitaries speak. Inspiring, influential, powerful, and again, very accomplished dignitaries. So may I ask you, how many would try to lead a life that they have? How many of you want to join the armed forces? After these inspiring speeches, only 3, 4, so many now. Okay, so you all are waiting for your friends to join. Good. What do you want to become? Tell me, what do you want to become? Huh? Saudi? Don't worry. What? How many for pilots? Only these many. Because it's a rare thing, wherever we go, people want to become pilots. Good that, I can see 3 or 4, girls also, and young ladies who want to become pilots. Very good. See, all of us got to where we are, and we can share this experience because of where we are today. But believe me, this life does not come easy. You need to work towards it. Irrespective of where you are born, where you are, a boy or a girl, from a rich family, a poor family, our struggles in this world are all similar. And the lessons to overcome those struggles and to move forward, changing ourselves and the world around us, will apply equally to each one of us, if you understand what I am trying to say. And that we recognize at the armed forces. And hence, the selection criteria which is present at the armed forces is such that we only select the lot, like sir mentioned, which is very original. We have assessments in excess of 35 different categories. You have have to be original, you have to be yourself to be selected in the armed forces. But to get there, I will share a few secrets. Not that I'm trying to change who you are. You need to remain original. I will share a few secrets to what makes people great. And this is not the people from armed forces, it is by very experienced people across the world. Okay. It's been 10 years now since I joined the Navy. Okay. The armed forces, as I see, have the most unbiased, stringent, challenging, and a tested selection procedure. And if you get through, then you are subject to some of the most torturous, gruesome training procedures which are existent in the world. You will curse me for inspiring you to be there for those 6 months which you will spend in the academy. It is the 6 months of being constantly harassed by professional trained warriors who seek to find the weak of the minds and the body and eliminate them from the armed forces. Why? Because if you are weak, you will not be suited to lead men in the most demanding of the circumstances. If you make it through this selection procedure, you will become an officer in the armed forces, irrespective of what category you are. But the training is not to push you out. Rather, it is to see those who can lead in an environment of constant stress, chaos, failure and hardships. Because in war, you cannot have it the way you have planned, as is with your life. So you have to be versatile, you have to be flexible. To all of us, including me, the basic training was a lifetime of challenges, all crammed into 6 months. It is very demanding. But if you ask me now, the training which we had back in those days, there are some things that will help you, all of you, in fact, in your life, to change the world and ours after we leave service in a better way. And that I realized after that training and when I am in the Navy today. Maybe you won't make sense of it when you are actually undergoing the training. The first thing they teach you is discipline, which is very, very important irrespective of what you become in life. It is what, in fact, differentiates an armed forces officer from a general person. What is discipline? It's not a very high-fi word. It is not as difficult as it sounds. It is just a way of life. It is something that your parents, your teachers have been teaching you even today. Put into a fancy word. In a traditional Indian society, discipline is what is natural. At the academy, it starts with how you walk. They teach you how to walk, how to speak, and you know the very first thing that is very demanding, they teach us how to keep our rooms and our cupboards neat. That is the most demanding job for all 6 months. It is called cabin cupboards. So, sirs will agree with me, that is the most difficult thing in the academy. Why? It's very difficult to do it because you are not accustomed to do it. Your parents have been doing it for you. Okay? It's to teach you that all big things in life always start small. Every day your rooms are inspected by the divisional officer. And the first thing they would inspect
is your bed. If you did it right, then the corners will be exactly square. The covers would be pulled tight with no crease. The pillow would exactly be in the center. And the blanket which you use will be folded neatly and will be kept at the foot. If anything is amiss, then you will be working. Believe me, it is this single most thing that is very important in life. Why, you ask? Now we understand why. Because if you make a bed every morning, you will have accomplished one or the first task for that day. It will give you a small sense of pride that you have accomplished it in a very good manner. Back in those days, if we did not get checked for our beds, we knew, okay, today I am happy, today I have done things right, and today I don't have to start my day with a punishment. So that itself motivates you. And then you do another task and then get another in the right way. Just with this motivation in your mind. And by the end of the day, the one task which you completed right will have turned into many basic tasks completed. And that is all that is required. So making your bed will again reinforce the fact that little things in life matter. They do. If you can't do the little things right, then you will never do the big things right. And plus, if by chance you had a miserable day, then at least you can come home to a bed which is nicely made and you will sleep right. If you dream to change the world, if you want to become something big in life, then start off by making your bed in the correct manner. Don't leave it to your parents. Do it yourselves. Start with little things. The second secret is about wisdom. We as Indians, we have the habit of blaming everyone around us for any misery and not taking the blame ourselves. We are taught this right since childhood. You can blame your government, you can blame your surroundings, you blame pollution, climate change, then you blame your colleagues for not giving you the facilities, and some random professor or some other things, or maybe your colleagues. Okay, same thing in schools. But at the end of the day, we can have the most dedicated teachers, the most supportive parents, the best of the institutions in the world, or the best government. But none of it will make a difference. None of it will matter unless all of you fulfill your responsibilities first. Unless you pay attention to those teachers who are teaching you, unless you listen to what your parents say, and your grandparents by the virtue of their experience, and put in the hard work now when it is desired from you, you will not succeed. You can be one of the Ambanis, but if you don't put in that hard work, you will never realize that Ambani also started from grassroots. That's what you need to focus on. Just your responsibilities which are you are responsible for now. And now you need to study. Now you need to get educated also. There are two different things. Studying and getting educated are not the same. I want to start with the responsibilities you have for yourself. Each single one of you has something that you are good at. Each single one of you has something to offer to this world, to this country. And you have a responsibility to yourself to discover what you are good at. That's the opportunity and education can provide. That is what education is. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe some of you can write good books or an article in the newspaper. You'll become a journalist tomorrow. But you will not realize it until you have written something. It may be that English class paper that was assigned to you, or an essay which you needed to write and which your teacher said you have written good. Maybe that has inspired you. Maybe you could become an innovator or an inventor. Maybe even good enough to build the next best aircraft there is. Maybe you could become the next great Prime Minister of this country. Who knows? Like Sir mentioned. But you might not know this until you join some student club or participate in your school or college activities, or you yourself find out what you are good at. And no matter what you do in your life, I guarantee that you need an education for it. So education is not just reading books. It can be formal or informal. You need to learn life skills. You want to be an engineer or join the armed forces or become an IT professional or a sportsman tomorrow. You need to do well in academics. If you do not do well in academics, you can become neither. So you need to study as well. And parallelly find out what you are doing. And if you don't find out in these few years, then you maybe graduate from an engineering college. Now you have your 10th, 12th and your engineering college. Then you have 8 years to find out what you are good at. With all this infrastructure which the country has set up for you today, which maybe this institute or your schools have set up for you today, and work towards it and learn for it. And if there is something missing, then you need to build it yourself or approach someone who can do it for you. And believe me, this is not just important for your own life, but it is important for our futures as well. What you do here today will decide nothing less than the future of our country. Because we are not the future. We are already its present. It is you who is going to be the future. You will decide what this country becomes tomorrow. So the future of a nation depends on each and every one of you, irrespective of what class you are in or what you are doing. What you are learning in here today will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges tomorrow. And you are the ones who are going to drive it very soon. So find that hidden wisdom and talent, and you need to find it fast. The third secret is about not being afraid to fail. During my flying training, each day during training we were challenged with multiple tasks. Doing it together was seemingly impossible. So many things at once. We had flying, we had ground subjects, we had assignments, we had projects, we had tests, all together, often clashing. And all this was deliberately done to test our mettle. Every event has a standard. And if you don't meet it for any reason, then you are administered one warning strike. And if you get 3 warnings, you are out of the course. It's that simple. So no one wants a warning. A warning meant that for that task, you didn't do good. A warning meant that you would be more tired, more fatigued, and you have not done this when you get so many warnings, you realize that it is not because you cannot do it, it is because you are scared of that warning that you are not doing it right. So at this point, you start being fearless. And that is what people desire. Remember that this fear is still you get that penultimate warning. Then one more warning and people start telling you, they take pride in telling you, you're out. That's what every instructor prides in such a one more warning and you're out. So once you get there, you have very little to lose. So what do? You're already on the brink, so you start pushing hard. You start realizing that suddenly, without this fear you had for the warnings and some extra effort that you're putting in now, you have built up something called mental resilience. So I want to tell you that life is filled with warnings. You will fail today, tomorrow, or some other day. And believe me, you will fail often. That is how life is. It will be painful at that time. It will be discouraging. At times, it will test you to your very core. But if you want to change the world, do not be afraid of failure. Don't give up. Start all over again when you fail. If it is meant for you, trust me, it will happen to you. Believe in yourself and keep believing. Rewind to 10 years back, when I was organizing this event, or maybe even before that when we inaugurated it, I said in my first speech, standing as the president for this club, that if it does not kill you, it only makes you stronger. It is with this attitude that you should push forward. And if some of us are able to inspire you today, then maybe again, after 10 years down the line, when maybe one of you will walk up here and say that what started here today indeed has changed the world and has changed the world for better. And that is what we all deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to inform that he was also the founder of our club. Now over to Sanjana. Hello guys. So now we'll have some question rounds, okay? So whoever answers this question will get a chocolate. Is that fine? Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. So the first question is, what has keys but can't open locks? Okay, that's my. Yes, you can answer. Piano, yes, that's the correct answer. Okay, moving on we have, what gets wetter as it dries? Yes? Towel, yes, you are right. What can travel around the world while staying in a corner? Okay, right. Postbox. Letter. One. Yes. Stamp, that's the correct answer. Okay, so the next question is, what has one eye but can't see? Needle. Okay, that's the right answer. Next, what has a head, a tail, is brown and has no legs? Okay, let's make it simpler. What has a head and a tail but has no legs? Yeah, that's a coin. Please raise your hands, okay? Okay, so what has cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water?
Map.
Yeah, that's the right answer. What has bed but never sleeps? Yes? Riverbed, that's the right answer. So, thank you for this session. Now we'll continue with the Words of Brains program, okay? Thank you. Let's transition to our next esteemed guest, Dr. Baldeep Singh. A senior assistant professor in aerospace engineering at MIT, Dr. Singh leads Mahesh Aerospace Science and Technology Center. With a rich background in research and entrepreneurship, let's eagerly anticipate the knowledge he is about to share.
So dignitaries sitting here, all the dignitaries, respected dignitaries, the staff of this very famous college, the students, and all you students who have come from different schools of Karnataka. I welcome you all here and thank you very much for coming, because this is the first time I am addressing the young school students, okay? For motivating them to take this career, because I am not from defense. You all have now listened to the people who are very eminent personalities from defense. So, why I have come here, I want to motivate you to take this as your career. I mean, to become aerospace engineers in future. You're all future aerospace engineers, that's definitely sure, if you want to take this as your career. The question is, can you become an aerospace engineer other than opting a career in defense? I mean, if you take a career as a pilot or you take a engineering career in defense organizations, can you become an aerospace engineer without that? Yes, you can. Okay, so that's what I'm going to explain you today. So I have my talk divided into two parts. So first is I'll give you some glimpse related to what this is exactly, I mean particularly related, because my field of interest, my field of research as an academician, as a space scientist is only and only aerospace engineering. I don't go beyond that domain. And second important part is that the second part of my talk will be particularly about showing you what I am doing and what I have done so far, where I have gone, some glimpse of that. I will give you that particular. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you have heard about the name, very famous personality from space sciences, Kalpana Chawla. Okay. How many of you have heard about the name? Oh, almost 100%. Okay. Why? Because she was an astronaut. What does astronaut mean? What is that profession basically? They are the people who have been, I'll say like this, who have been responsible for going to space for some specific purpose. They will not do as such. It's not a leisure, okay, or it's a kind of a responsibility given to them to perform certain duties in space. They are being trained for that, okay? And that training is, I must say, as far as you have defense training also. If you become an astronaut for a candidate, you will be given a 2.5 years of rigorous training for sustainability, okay? So if in case something happens, how you have to sustain, okay? So what are those? Most of the astronauts, they are basically aerospace engineers, okay? I must say India is also progressing now in space a lot. We have become, I will say, very famous in space. Wherever I am going abroad, if I am delivering some lecture, if I say, okay, I came from India, they first say, okay, you might be from ISRO. I said, no, I am not from ISRO, but ISRO is my space organization. Okay, so we have progressed a lot. What we are now going to do, I think sir will tell you more about that, because we have one personality here from ISRO. We are now going to enter into human space flight as well. It means our mission called Gaganyaan, yes sir? So that is also, now we are entering into that. We have done a lot of work in that also. Our modules is ready, our training centers are ready. So what this basically is, suppose I say, okay, I want to become an aerospace engineer. How I can become an aerospace engineer? First is, you have to take an aerospace degree, okay? Now, when I'm talking about aerospace, it's something different. What you have to study about aircraft, you have to study about spacecraft, okay? When I say aerospace, so that is the mixture of two things. One is called as aeronautical engineering, okay, or aeronautical sciences. Another one is called as astronautical engineering or astronautical science, okay? So the mixture of two is what we call as aerospace, okay? So what is aeronautical engineering basically? Anybody knows? In aeronautical engineering, what we study? We study everything about the aircraft, okay, and also the fluids surrounding it, okay. Almost everything about the subsystems of an aircraft, how we produce an aircraft, how we build an aircraft, what are all subsystems, and also the properties of the fluid in which it is flying, right? What is the fluid in which it is flying? It's air. So we study detail about that, okay? That's called as a field called aerodynamics, okay? And when we come to astronautical engineering, we study something about, here it was aircraft, here it will be a spacecraft, okay? So we study all subsystems of a spacecraft, okay, in detail. And clubbing the two, I'm talking about academia. If we club the two courses together in academia, we call that as aerospace engineering. Okay? Now, as far as research in aerodynamics is concerned, let me tell you how fascinating this branch of engineering is. If you see a butterfly somewhere, okay, or for that matter any insect, for example, a mosquito come that bites you. So I say, oh my God, this is a very harmful insect. It has sit on my arm and it has bitten me, and then it has sucked all the blood out of me. So I don't like this mosquito. Okay? And you see somewhere butterfly, so it's a very beautiful, colorful insect, right? We as aerospace engineers don't see it in that way. What we do is, we catch that particular insect, okay? We hibernate it. Please understand, hibernate. We don't kill it, okay? So we hibernate it and we take it for analysis. What kind of analysis? For example, if I am catching an insect, a butterfly or a mosquito or something like that, we will take that insect to the laboratory, okay, and we start studying the morphology of that particular insect. Because I am, as an aerospace engineer, most interested in what? in understanding how it is flying. Can I be able to imitate it? Is it possible to imitate that insect? Okay. So we take it to the lab, we hibernate it, we start studying it, we start understanding the morphology of that particular insect, and then what we do? After understanding the morphology of that insect, we try to imitate it. Imitate means mimicking. We start building the same insect, same type of insect in laboratory. We fabricate it. Okay? And when you see the beauty of that is when the end product or prototype comes, it is similar to that kind of insect. But now what is happening? It is a man-made prototype flying. Okay? And we have done that work before. One of the research areas is insect scale robotics. Okay? So we catch these insects, we do study on that in detail, and then we apply all our aerospace engineering knowledge which we have and fabricate it into a beautiful insect robot which flies. Now these insect robots basically you can use for lot of applications. Lot many defense applications for that matter. And now we have also taken the initiative to look into how could we apply these insect small robots which we have designed in the laboratory to be used for studying the planetary atmosphere. So we are also now taking our insect robots, 3-4 tests we have already done, to these environmental chambers, which we called as planetary environmental chambers in London and Denmark. So we have gone there and we have tested those insect robots in that atmosphere. I'll tell you one more important thing in that matter. For example, if I want to study the atmosphere of a planet called Mars, you know Mars, right? What is that called in Hindi? Mangal Graha, right? Right? So if you want to study that, Mars has a problem in terms of its atmosphere is that it is less dense than Earth. Okay? It's almost 1/100 of that of Earth. Okay? And you all know that, probably you are from the school, so I will tell you. Without density, you cannot generate lift. Lift is what? It is basically a force, right? Using that force you understand, everyone? So using that force, you are able to lift something up in air, right? Same thing, same principle happens in aircraft, okay? And the same principle happens in this, what I am doing right now, that research I am telling you right now. So that's what actually called as flapping motion, okay? You have two wings and they will flap. It's called symmetric flapping, when both the wings will flap in one go. If it is like this is asymmetric flapping. Asymmetric, okay? This is symmetric. So we go for symmetric flapping and we are now testing it. If we take it for planetary atmosphere, how the insect robot is going to, flying aerial robot is going to behave. Okay? So we have tested it, but the problem with this kind of testing is, if you go for testing related to Mars, for example, its atmosphere has very low density, which is 1/100th of that of Earth, I guess. So without density, generating lift is very, very difficult. Okay? So you need a very high power density for your vehicle to get lifted in such a kind of environment. So this is what we have tested. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it? That you are able to replicate something which is biological, basically, and then you are testing it for your terrestrial things, and then for out of the space things, for planetary things. And similar is the case with what we are looking at all around now. We have quadcopter flying. We have, right? Quadcopter flying everywhere. What is the basic principle is same? It is you need the knowledge of aerodynamics, which is a study related to the fluid. Okay? You need the knowledge of propulsion. What is it of propulsion? School students, all of you. The energy which we need to make that quadcopter fly. You have seen that quadcopter now flying from here, and we were sitting, right? So you need some kind of power sourcing for that to fly. Huh? So we need knowledge of that. We call it as propulsion. Then we need knowledge of dynamics. Dynamics means how it flies. Okay? What are the forces, moments, that and that. So all these collectively or encompasses this branch, and this branch, that's why I say aerospace engineering is one of the most toughest branches of engineering, as well as it is one of the most adventurous branches of engineering. Okay? So now my second part is how do I become an aerospace engineer? Because we're all now in your 10th or maybe 12th class, 10 plus 2, right? So you have one option to opt for defense. It's very good. Everybody should do that. You have a chance after your 12th class, if you go for engineering and computer engineering, you have a chance to go to our National Space Agency. You sit for exams, qualify it, and if you got selected, you can go to your space agency. You can join. You can give your contribution as part of your national economy. Okay. Then there's also a third route. Means first route is defense. Second route you go to national agency and work for them. There's also third route which you can take, and that is you can become a scientist or a professor. Okay, by taking robust knowledge in this area. Okay, because for becoming a scientist, or of course for scientists, if you want to become scientist in ISRO, you need not to have a PhD as such. By taking graduation degree, passing their quality exam, getting interview, passing that interview also, you can enter into that, and you can be a scientist at some low rank, and then with your work and all, you can progress to high levels, right? But there's one more role that you can become a scientist or you can become a professor by educating yourself more in this area. For example, you do master's degree in there, and then you do PhD in there and an MA. Okay? So these are the three routes that you people can opt for, and this is by these three routes you can make your career well defined in this field. Okay? Have you understood, everyone? How you can go for that? Defense, our space agency, National Space Agency, or you can go to any national scientific laboratory. Like we have so many scientific laboratories, we have so many organizations like DRDO and all. You can go sit in the exam. Or the third route is to become an aerospace scientist professor like I am. Okay, I never opted for any. I mean, I wanted to go, but I never had time for that. So I didn't go for any defense exam, or I didn't go for any sit for any National Space Agency or any scientific lab. But now, when I have reached to that level, I can engage with them to the highest extent. So we are doing projects, scientific projects with our National Space Agencies. We are engaging with them. We are taking grants from them. We are working with them. So in that way, we are giving some contribution in nation building. Okay, so that's also possible. So now you have to keep in mind that without hard work and without knowledge, because there are two things. One is called knowledge, another one is called depth. Okay, knowledge and depth. If I say you people are all school students, and say what is your level of knowledge right now? Okay, I say your level of knowledge is good, no problem. Okay, but what you are lagging now is the depth. Okay, so if you see the knowledge versus depth graph, you know graph what it is? If you see knowledge is plotted here and depth is plotted here, what will be the shape of that graph? It will be like this, which means, oh, I'll show you. Yeah. So can you see this, everyone? Okay? This is the relationship between the knowledge and the depth. So what is the shape of the graph? So it's like this. What it means? What it means? When you are a little boy, or you are school children, or you are at this age right now, I must say your knowledge is very high, because you want to enter into all the fields. You want to take information from all the fields. Your knowledge level is more. What you are lacking now is, as soon as you become elder, you are actually losing your depth. Okay? Are you understanding what I mean? So your depth is. I can give you one example of this. You know what doctors are? So if somebody is MBBS, this is an MBBS doctor, what it means? He is basically a person who knows everything about the body, and if you want, you can take, okay, he can actually diagnose you, not a problem. He can even treat you well, okay? But when I say depth of his knowledge related to a particular field, for example, a cardiology or a heart problem, he has to move ahead, he has to go deep into that, and then only he can see some complications coming, cardiac complications coming, how he has to handle that complications, okay? So that means once he moves ahead, he actually is moving into deeper and deeper into that, and his depth is getting increased, okay? But knowledge is there, because he is an, let's say like you, this example is just applicable to you also. Your knowledge is more, but that will come as you become older and older and you try to put your hand on everything that from that perspective to learn more and more and you're definitely okay? So there are a lot of things that you do to make your career successful. Please don't stick on that and say, okay, I will become aerospace engineer and then only my career will be. No, not like that. You can be, if you want to be an aerospace engineer at a later stage, you can be a computer science engineer, you can be a physics graduate, you can be an electronics and communication engineer, that doesn't matter. So it's an interdisciplinary branch. At any point of time, if you have done your graduation in other fields also, later on you can come and study about aerospace engineering and become an aerospace scientist. That's not a problem. So there are so many, I can give you a lot many lists of branches that engineering possesses. But please understand, one of the main basic things that we should possess is, what do you mean by engineering design? Okay? So what you do in engineering when you now enter from your school studies to do some professional degree, for example, if you enter into engineering, you will only study for 4 years only about engineering design, because this is the first thing that an engineer should learn. And this engineering design always depends upon the need, because as an engineer, what you need to do? You need to build something, right? And that build is based on what? Is based on the need. Okay? What is the need? I'm going to build that, and I'm going to build that using a process of engineering design. Okay? Clear? So aerospace industry is very vast. That's what I told you before itself. You can take any area, no problem, but you can still be an aerospace engineer. There's no issues in that. The only thing is you need to have some basic knowledge of what is the science behind an aircraft, science behind a spacecraft. That is what you need to possess. Okay? So now if you look at this, I want to give you some small glimpse of, in 2014, we went to Moscow, Russia, and Russia has, that means like we have a national space agency, ISRO, they have a national space agency called Roscosmos. Okay? So there, for example, the people who will go to space, we call them as astronauts. Okay? In India, I don't know what we are going to call them as astronauts also. Gaganauts. So in India they will be Gaganauts. And in Russia they are called as cosmonauts. Cosmonauts. Okay? So and in US it's also called astronauts, okay? They are called as astronauts. US has a base among all the centers that NASA possesses. One of the centers that NASA, where the astronauts are getting trained, they are called as Johnson Space Center, okay? Johnson Space Center. In Russia, Roscosmos, it's called as Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center, okay? That is in a place called as Starsky in Moscow. Okay? Moscow is the capital city of Russia. So we got the chance to visit that in 2014, and these are the photographs from that particular trip we had. So this is the entrance of Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center. You know where I'm standing in front of? The statue is of whom? Can you see that? It's of Yuri Gagarin. What was Yuri Gagarin? The first man who went to space, correct? Who is the first Indian who went to space? Speak. Who is the first person from India who went to space? He was from Air Force, yes. He was a defense person. Who is that? Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma. Okay, we should remember this, huh? So this is the statue of Yuri Gagarin. So this is the entrance of Yuri Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center in Starsky. Can you see this? I don't know, the projector is not that clear. Can you see this machine, everyone? This is an equipment called a centrifuge. Okay? So what is this used for? Why this centrifuge is used for? This is used for to give them training related to what? Yes, G4, I would say high accelerations, higher accelerations. You don't, maybe you won't, might not understand at this point. So when we go to space, okay, it's like you're sitting in a spacecraft, we say human-based spacecraft, where you are actually who are carrying the spacecraft which are carrying astronauts and taking them to space. You are in the payload bay of a launch vehicle. Launch vehicle, you know, that is a rocket, right? And then you lift off. Huh? So you will see that the moment you lift off from Earth and you start chasing the gravity, what will happen basically? A lot of that means astronauts inside the capsule will feel lot of G-force. Okay? And that's why, because there are very high accelerations. Okay? And that impact an astronaut has to bear if the mission has to be successful. So the astronauts, and even I think in Air Force also, pilots are being trained for that. So they call it the G-force training, right? You might have gone through. And similar as the data with the similarity between the astronaut training and what the astronauts are being given, what kind of training is similar training is given to them. I mean, not to that extent, but it's okay. So this is an equipment called a centrifuge. You can see a bubble in front of, bubble course in front of that's a long tube, okay? And at the end of that tube, you have a bubble case, right? So the astronauts are being brought from, I don't know if it's not clear from it, I have put it, there is a small bay door here. From this bay door, they are being put in the chair and they will be sent to this small chamber. And then this small chamber is locked, perfectly perforated, and the whole centrifuge is rotated. Okay? If you see my size in front of that centrifuge, I'm standing down there, right there. Very, very small. So huge equipment, very huge equipment, and then it rotates. You know what is the maximum G-force that a body can sustain, sir? A body can sustain not more than 5 or 6 Gs. Okay? You cannot go beyond, because if you go beyond that, your organs will rupture. Okay? So this is how they are being trained. And there is one more equipment that I saw there. You can see I'm watching from a small window, right? Huh? What is there inside? This is called a buoyancy tank. Okay? So it is filled with gallons of water. And what is there inside that tank? I'll show you. Next. Oh, next. So see here. There are some replica of some instruments. What are those instruments? I'll tell you. Why they are being kept in water? Because they want to simulate the microgravity environment. Okay? So what they will do is they will let these cosmonauts or astronauts with spacesuits to enter into this buoyancy lab, I mean this water tank, go inside and start doing rehearsal or kind of training, microgravity training of what? Of some kind of overhaul that you want to do, some kind of repairing which you want to do on the same model which is there in space. Okay? And what is that model right now in space? So this is what? It's called as International Space Station. Okay? Because I was in Russia and I was in the National Space Center. So the models which you have seen are the models that Russia has built for this space station. Because this space station, which is now going to get decommissioned, this space station is basically made in cooperation from how many countries? 8. Out of it, major countries are what? US and United States of America and Russia. It was USSR first, then it became Russian Federation. So in this International Space Station, there are 2 modules that Russia has built initially in the beginning. That's called as Zarya and Unity. So what you have seen in the what you seen in this buoyancy tank basically is the replica of that Zarya and Unity module. And if you see in this figure, I don't know if it is clear or not, there are orange suit people. The people who are wearing orange suit, and there are people who are divers. And you see that black suit. So the 3 astronauts have been sent inside the tank, and you will have divers which will be taking care of it. If there is any emergency, they will take them out. Okay? So this is called as a buoyancy tank or buoyancy lab. Okay? So this is one of the trainings they gave it to the astronauts before they sent them to space. And one more thing I want to tell you, we were very lucky to actually visit, because the time when cosmonauts are getting trained, they don't allow civilians to enter inside. Okay? But because we were on an official trip, so we got the chance to go inside. I also have a video which I cannot show here. It's like how the cosmonauts are getting trained in the Soyuz simulator itself. So we were very lucky to actually go there inside and see and interact with them. So what you are seeing here now, you know, Russia has, now also they are utilizing, but they are utilizing it from long time. Russian engineering is what we call as sustainable engineering, okay? So they have a spacecraft called as Soyuz, okay? Soyuz. So now also they are utilizing that, not yet decommissioned. They are still utilizing it for carrying the humans to space, okay? So this, what you are seeing is the docking key, or we call it docking key of that Soyuz model. Docking means what? When a Soyuz with humans is taken to space, you have to attach it with the International Space Station so that people from inside can enter into the station and work there for their particular amount of time as per their mission. So that aside from the Soyuz, and which is there inbuilt in the ISS, they are being attached together, and we call this mechanism as docking. Okay? So this is the docking key for the Soyuz model, yes? And that you can see the last, I don't know whether it is visible for all. You see brown color or gray color, so that is the Soyuz simulator. Okay, so this we have taken in the evening time before leaving, because otherwise they won't let to take the photographs there. Okay, and this is what I have come now. Maybe sir might give you more knowledge on this. This is our own mission, what we call as Gaganyaan. Okay, so this is the crew model. This is already being tested. And I must congratulate ISRO for that, because in coming 2-3 years, or maybe by another 5 years, we will be absolutely ready to send Indian cosmonauts to space. Okay? And ISRO for that, a lot of applause from my side. I congratulate ISRO for that. Okay? Being a citizen of India is really a proud for us. Okay? You know what it is? What it is? Everyone? So this is basically an Indian-made robot, but woman robot, who call, what is the name? Vyomitra, correct. See, that's what we want. Oh, very good. So Vyomitra is a woman robot that will be now sent to space before they actually commence the manned mission, right? So it is like, of course, there is a purpose for sending such things to space, not like you will send a toy or robot to space. But this is what we are doing, and we are capable of it. Sir, one more important thing I want to tell you. Whenever I visit abroad, what we have been called there as a cost-effective space agency. Cost-effective space agency. We do everything. We have reached to that level now. But how we have done it? By utilizing minimal cost for all our missions. And for that also ISRO, we must congratulate our space agency for that. People who are doing work there, scientists who are working inside, it's a commendable job from them. And this is the last slide. So this is again a big applause for ISRO. This is Air Africa. I'm not telling the original picture, but same like that. Will be our international space station. Means Bharatiya. We call it as, I don't know what is the name they have. It's yet to put the name. So this is our space station, which will be sent to space by 2038. By 2038, India will have its own space station. Okay? What all the countries till now who have built their own space station? Other than the ISS. ISS is a corporation. It's a corporation among the countries. Other than that, which country has sent its own space station? Which one? China. What is the station name? Yes. Very good. What is your name, beta? Sorry? Oh, yes. So, very good, very nice. So that's it. I must end it here, and I hope you have understood that you can become an aerospace engineer. It's very fascinating, believe me. One example I have given you about about catching some insect and bringing it live into an aerial model in that. Is what you can do. Okay? So knowledge has no power. You can keep on learning. So you are very small right now, but I hope many of you in future will become scientists. You might be scientists in ISRO. You might be say commanders and colonels and lieutenant generals in army and air force. So you have to be always remember it. I tell you one proverb very important. There is one aviation enthusiast long back. It had maybe in previous century. His name was Anon. Okay. So what he said, I will just wind up with that proverb. He said, to most people, sky is the limit. To most people, sky is the limit. But to those who have flight, sky is the limit. Okay? So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. All the best.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजार किया
Thank you, sir. Continuing our journey through the skies of knowledge, our next guest is J.P. Rao. With an MBA from the University of Wollongong and a wealth of experience, J.P. Rao has not only excelled in the corporate world as the business head for Emirates Bank, but also showcased his skills as an RC pilot and external trainer for the Indian Defence. Let's hear from J.P. Rao as he takes us through his experience and insights.
Make some noise for JP Rao, please. If you touch me, I want to make you all boys and girls. All of you had your lunch, right? How many didn't have your lunch? I did steal because I ate in between. Airways Marshal Kharnik sir, Vipin, right? Divin, Dr. Balbir, Dr. MR, some teachers from the school, boys and girls, and of course the Aero Club team. Good afternoon to you all. For some reason you see me, I'm a little relaxed. Any idea why? People like Balbir, Dr. Designs, These people fly sitting in it. I fly them sitting outside. I think that's one of the safest place to be as an RC pilot. But boys and girls, it's a very serious hobby. It is not a toy. So as we progress, next 5, 10, 15 minutes, I made little slides for you all. And you pay attention, I'm sure many of you all like the subject, because every time when you hear some noise in the sky, you always turn around and enjoy that bird, don't we? We love to see the helicopters and planes. And RC, that is remote control flying, is one opportunity where you get as close as possible and you can fly as small as this. And how many of you want to see this fly in the next couple of minutes? Put your hands up, please. This is your subject also. Please don't think engineering is only for boys. It's for everyone, okay? This is going to happen. Promise me that you wouldn't sleep. Yeah? Here we go. Yes, sure. Of course, you guys and girls are comfortable with English, right? ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಇದೆ ಅದು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ ಅಂತ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ what I'm talking is probably a very entry level discussion, but I'm sure most of the time we make a mistake that we assume and presume that people understand, but only when you ask questions you know that yeah, probably I should have started somewhere else. So what happens here is, that's the little subject I want to cover, RC for beginners. I'm sure most of you don't have a mobile phone or on Instagram, but you can tell your parents and family to follow this little team, RC India. So basically we have a team which travels pan-India, we do air shows, we conduct air modeling, aircraft building in terms of miniature world. And I'm JP Rao. Okay. This is just yesterday. I asked Google Mata that I was addressing a bunch of students, where do I start? So I asked the question, how many parts does a Boeing 747 aircraft has? And look at the answer. 6 million parts in an aircraft, 60 lakhs. And what happens is more scarier, which are made up of control, and there are few pilots, there are two sitting here, who control these 60 lakh parts on an aircraft. So can you imagine how dynamic, how sophisticated, yet the most safest travel mode on earth. I'm going to talk to you all a larger prospect of flying, and as we progress further, ಒಂದು ಗಿಡ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾದ್ರೆ ಹತ್ತಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ಚಿಕ್ಕದು ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೋಷ್ಟು ಚಂದ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಡೌನ್ ಟು ದ ಲಿಟಲ್ RC flying world. So this is what the Google Mata told me. Why is this? Okay. Out of the 60 million parts, 60 lakhs parts, can we just break it down? What are these parts? I'll take a minute break. Technically, I'm getting a little hindered here. Okay, fine. On an aircraft, the previous question was, what is the problem? Okay, so okay. Excuse me, boys and girls. I'm sorry that the display on the screen is a little smaller, but let me explain to you from here what constitutes an aircraft. I'm sure a couple of you all can come forward. Let's make it interactive. What do you say? Alva, I'm putting the day now share model. What happens here? I think the daylight. Technically, I'm having some hindrance. Okay, fine. So, on an aircraft, you have the main fuselage. Alva, you can see it there. Of course, there are wings, there are engines. Then towards the end, this is called the fuselage, the main body. You have the wings, then you have. Okay. Can somebody come forward and quickly tell me what parts do you identify on this? The little boy that was continuously answering. Okay, we'll move to the next slide. For us, as a common man, they're all wings, but then these are the kind of wing designs that are normally or commonly used. Can you read it there? They're simple things, but let's cut it short. When it comes to RC flying world, most of us start with something of this design, where you have a straight wing, the straight leading edge and the straight trailing edge. I'll explain to you later as we have pictures. You will definitely learn more about it. Use it manually. This is what happens, Dr. Balbir, when you want to stretch yourself with technology somewhere or the other, you get stuck. I thought Windows was always troubling, but I did. Yeah, manually, yeah. Check. Okay, so we were here at a point where for a simple aircraft, these are the kind of designs. Why I'm telling you this is all boys and girls who wish to join the Aero Club, sooner or later, you can start making some notes because when you join them, you have something to start with. So these are the kind of wings that are available, commonly used. Right. This is something, the most important part as an aircraft designer, which is a little far-fetched at the moment for you all. But if you're joining the club here and you want to pursue some kind of fun with the RC, these things are most important, that what type of aircraft you want to design and fly. So on the left, There's something called as a mid-winger, low winger. You can see the type of wings with the bodies attached to. Every wing attachment, of course I'm a little too small to explain in front of the real pilots, but each wing attachment to the fuselage and the body has its own behaviors, means it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So this is something that you people have to note. It is not just a wing attached to the body. It depends, again, where exactly you want to attach. Next. Right. This is the front wing, where I'm referring to something as a dynamic. This is used in the aviation industry, but in the RC world, when you're designing, we just come to two parts of it. Why is it dynamic? If you see the blue part, that's called the leading edge. The yellow is definitely called the flaps, which flares out. Then there's something called, at the end, you can see the edge. Then there is something called as air brakes, the spoilers, the red one in the center. But what is most important for us when we learn or when we design in a school level is one at the end, which is called the aileron, which is the movable part, and of course the wing. The rest you can keep it as you progress in life. Next. Right. I told you all it's most important to know what exactly I was trying to design when you want to fly. The advantages here, where we have something called as a low wing and a high wing on the right. These are basically a little, of course the low wing has its different applications, but let me start one on the right, the high winger, which is more a leisure aircraft. It will be slow, and most of the tourist places, if you see around, where they have this leisure flying thing happening, it's always that little aircraft which is used, which is either a 2-seater, 4-seater or 6-seater like that. Why? Because it's comparatively an entry level when somebody wants to become a pilot, but more and above, this particular plane is much easier to control, and it's quite leisure, where if we ask the commanders here, your job is always on your toes, but here probably you get a couple of seconds to look in and out. Now what happens with us in the RC world, when you're flying, you're not an expert, so obviously the plane where you have the wing on top and the fuselage, you have a big window where you can do some errors, but you can still get away with it. The recovery period is much longer if something goes wrong when you're flying. Next. I'll show you. I'm sure you've seen this plane. How many of you recognize this plane? It's quite popular. The little boy, tell me what's the name? Oh my God. Do you know the registration for this? This plane, as I told you, there's a purpose when the designers in Russia did it. It is to carry large aircraft, large cargoes. And here what happens with this plane, because of the wing structure, it takes off and can land with a minimal space because of the sheer design of it. And the best part, the load being under the wing, you know, it's a much easier aircraft when it comes to flying. So most of the designs here, as I told you, is based on the wing. At the end of the day, let's remember, it is not it's basically the wing that flies, and what goes underneath is just the body. So it's what we're flying end of the day is the wing. Next. Some more planes, and if you carefully observe, see the wing structures. These are commercially used, starting from the antennas till the Airbus A380, which is called the gull wing, which carries about 600 passengers, right? Yeah, next. One more. Next. Right. Remember I mentioned to you all the wings decides what you want to do with the plane. Most of us have seen the airborne, the Red Bull races, right, on the televisions, right? How many of you have seen the Red Bull races, the aircraft races? Many of you. If you observe, the design of this plane is, it's called the center wing, the mid wing. So what happens with this aircraft? It performs inverted as simple as regular. So this kind of aircraft you see in RC world where people use it for heavier maneuvers and 3D flying. I'll come to that. So that's about the design. Next, the delta wings, larger speed, larger wing strengths. Therefore, what happens? High performance aircrafts. Next. That's about the front. The rear part, these are the types of designs that engineers have done it over a period of time. You can just go through it. But then majorly, some of the most popular tail designs. I can see a couple of you are taking some notes, that's nice. So these are the most popular designs when you start designing your own aircraft when it comes to your RC flying. The next. You can see this, the vertical stabilizers and the horizontal stabilizers. Can somebody tell me what does this actually do? Yeah. What does the vertical stabilizer do, the left one? It gives, sorry? It gives directions, okay, directions, fine. What about the horizontal, the vertical one? Sorry? Oh, lovely. Give a big round of applause, please. It helps the aircraft. Basically, the vertical stabilizer definitely helps in direction, but of course, let's not go deeper into it. The horizontal helps, it's also referred as so it's also referred as an elevator. It helps to take off or to get your nose down during landing. Of course, there are mixed applications of it as you fly. So that's it, the tail part of the aircraft. So far, I spoke to you about the wings and the rear side of the aircraft when you design the next. Okay. We have designed, everything is done. Now we need somebody to push the aircraft, right? So definitely in the 1940s, the engineers came down to design one of the first, if I might be wrong, an internal combustion miniature engine for RC, that is radio control application. Boys and girls, the RC flying is nothing but a miniature version of a larger aircraft. So now I'm coming closer to what I've been given responsible for. This is one of the first internal combustion engines that was put. Next. Then of course, moved on to have petrol engines, which normally we use for bikes, the 2 strokes. And one on the right is a methanol, which is still popularly used. Both these engines are pretty popular in today's RC world. I'll come to this is number 2 and 3. The number 1 I will tell you which is most important for you all to start with. The next. No, wait. Go back here. So what do you think was the difference? I showed you all the first engine, and then I showed you all the two. The first and the other 2 are also here. Can somebody tell me what is the difference that you see? So look at the picture and answer. Yeah? Stand up, please. No, I said it's an internal combustion engine. Maybe you didn't see the exhaust. Be smart. The first engine doesn't have an exhaust. You're right, that's the difference. But I will tell you what the main difference here is. On the right, the 2 engines have something called as a carburetor. The reason why I'm sharing this, the first doesn't have one means the first engine to the left, what you're seeing, has a fixed RPM. The rotation that it gives you is fixed. When you sit with your dada, mama, uncle, aunts, when you're sitting in the car, do they go in the same speed? No, right? There are places where they need to pull off, they need to stop, and somewhere they need to go faster. So that means you need a variable speed. So, one on the right, the engine that has carburetor in it, means the engine RPM is variable. Right, next. Again, sky is the limit. Multi-piston engines, also available for RC planes. Yeah. The rotary engines, I'm sure you're wondering why this guy talking about these large engines. Yeah, in the miniature world, yeah, this is there, and some of the dream engines that we wish to put it onto our RC planes. The next, let's stop here. This is another revolutionary engine which took the airline or the aircraft industry to the next level. The turbine engine. How many understand what this engine is? I want you to just relax for a few minutes, and one guy was really... Okay, let me explain to you about it. I think I want to hear. I better put him on the stage. Okay, we can call him later. We can enter, yeah. Right, now what happens with this engine? If you have a look at it, it's got a very simplest looking, it's a very complex machine. We use it in our radio control aircrafts. There is an intake of air. This is simple mechanics. You're a high school student, right? Yeah. So the process is quite simple. There is an intake, there's a compression, there's a fuel feed, and there is an explosion. So this, we normally call it as a continuous explosion, but in a controlled manner, where the thrust is pushed in one direction. So this is the turbine engine which we use, but of course I think at this juncture, we can just ignore, go to the next. Yes. This is commonly used in these days, people have certain buildings where we call it as EDFs, the electric duct fans, where the turbine engine, where it uses fuel, in this it's electric or battery operated. The technology is still evolving, but we have got definitely better EDFs that are in the market now, which we can use for larger aircraft in the RC world. The next. This is something, I think, those of you wanting to join us soon, the club soon, you'll see this pretty often, and this will be around you, which is the electric motor. I just put it in as a BL motor. Can somebody tell me what is BL? Brushless. Okay. This is another technology in motors where you can go deeper into it. Boys can make more of it, girls can make more of it. Of course, it's a different subject by itself. So generally, in our electrical RC world, we use these brushless motors, especially for propulsion. Next. Okay. Interesting? Looks nice? Girls, make some noise. And boys. Okay. So I'm coming to exactly where we would start, or you would start, is just have a good look at this. These are kind of aircrafts that you can always start with. Either you can go to a shop and straight away buy it. They're called the ARFs, almost ready to fly. You put in some electronics and then you fly. Or you can even think of designing them and building yourself and flying. So the trainers to the jets on the right. Each one has its own application. Please don't go home today if your dad is a well-placed businessman, tell him, buy me a jet. Yeah? Because I'll show you all a little later what exactly you guys will head into. The next. Right. How many of you recognize this or have seen it? The first picture. You've seen the first picture. All those who've seen the first picture, please stand up. Please stand up. Now be honest with me. The reason I put the second picture is hoping that you have not made your machine look like that by now. Have you opened it and broken it by now? See, one guy has already put his hand out. Okay, sit down. See, the thing on the left is called a servo motor. Now this belongs, or you study about this in a stream called mechatronic, where a simple electronic signal given to it converts into a mechanical. Now how does this help? As I showed you in the earlier slides, on an aircraft you need to have moving parts, right? To make them fly. So this is one of the very, very important component on a, of course, I mean, they are also on a larger aircraft with different design concept, but for us in the RC world, this is definitely there. It's called a servo motor, and that is what is inside it. So next time if you bought it, please don't open it, because these are not cheap material. These are expensive, so see it on the picture. Next. How do we power it up? You saw the petrol engine, you saw the methanol engine. The electric is obviously through a battery. If you see down, I should have put few more V's there. It's one of the most dangerous material that you can store. The lithium polymer batteries. Because if you don't take care of it, it doesn't take care of you either. Because it can explode, it has got high discharge. If you see the battery there, on the left hand side, why I'm stressing out on this is, I've seen and heard few accidents around Mangalore where students have played around it and have landed up in the hospital. So when you get into RC flying, boys and girls, safety is the most important, and this is one of the most dangerous part when you're building, which is the battery. Now, it's a simple mathematics on it. It's ideally a 3.7 volt. When it is on the storage, you can talk deeper into it. Once I think you join the club, they will explain to you much deeper. But ideally it is a couple of pack. One on the right, it mentions 14.8 volts. So how do you think they got it? Let's do a simple series calculation here. How do you think they arrived at that voltage? Where one on the left series is 3.7. These batteries are connected in series to build up voltages. Bigger the voltage, higher the power. That means you can fly larger, bigger birds. Is it clear? Yeah? The next. Right. Those batteries which I mentioned, called the lithium polymer, comes, or you need to also pick up dedicated chargers for this. You cannot just put them into any kind of wall charger and charge them. You have dynamic chargers that are available for them, and that's how exactly a whole I don't know why technology is giving up on me today. Okay, so the next slide please. One more step deeper into what actually is there on the aircraft when you're flying, when you're building. And these are the electronic setups where in an electric plane you have the lithium polymer battery that is powering Then you have something called as electronic speed control, the ESC. You saw the brushless motor before, yeah, a couple of you. Controls the speed, therefore you get different thrust levels. Of course, I'm getting now closer to something that you have to pay more attention to, which is the receiver. And then of course you have the servos, which I already showed to you. The next. What would this ideally be according to you? The short software. Yeah. Basically you see 4 motors, stuff, and this is how exactly, how many people call this drones? Please stop calling it, because it's a very scary world in India. So ideally when you start building, in case you're getting into these kind of multi-copters, you start calling them as quad or hexa. Hexa means 6. Quad means 4. So this is one of the basic things that you see around. Easier comparatively to design and fly because most of the components are available in the market. Of course, I'm coming to the most important part here now, which is on the right hand side, is the radio or the remote control. Yeah, we'll go next. Okay. From left to right, ideally you see about 60 years of flying. Radio from the left to the right, what do you see? Now what has gone missing are the antennas, right? Now what has happened, boys and girls? The communication, which is still a challenge, from a simple megahertz to the right has gone to giga, means the communication between you and the aircraft has improved. Because most of the time, people used to crash because of when you switch on the radio, when you listen to some channels, you always have this problem where you have some interference, correct? On the FM you see when you're taking some turns, you're missed out on some songs or whatever the radio jockey is wanting to tell you. Now what happens is, when you're flying the aircraft, it is so important that every signal that you send when it's flying, there is no miscommunication. So, from the left, the technology is moved to gigahertz. Above all, today, we have radios which have something called as redundancies under it. If one communication fails, there is a second communication as a backup line. So, the radio flying has become much safer. Next. Okay. This is how crazy and larger the hobby has become. It's only getting bigger and crazier. Are you ready to see some of these pictures? Of course, today we are in Google world. Can we go to the next? This is one of the biggest at the moment, which is 10 meters, that is 30 feet. Can you imagine the size? A 30-foot aircraft, when somebody is still, I'll show you what I have. People still ask me, you can imagine. This, I think if you manage, you can sit in. Of course. That's not me. Yeah? That's one of the sweetest collection of mine. It's called the J10. It is a turbine. It's got a 8-foot fuselage, delta wing. Some of you who came to Sayal probably would have just witnessed. To fly this, there are no proper grounds and stuff in Mangalore. So we go to Pune, it needs a proper runway and approaches and things like that. So that's one of my birds. Next. Yeah, next. You can hear the sound. Wonderful. Of course, I've taken off. So every time I tell myself, thank God, I was able to land, and you can see the landing here. Next. Any questions? Mileage कितना दे रहा है? Yeah. Back. Yeah, go back. 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 That's an interesting question, yeah. I'm sure the boys will. Anyone recognizes this plane? Unfortunately, it doesn't fly anymore. Sorry? No problem. You can go wrong. Are your twins there by any chance? Yeah? Okay. He's thinking he lost it. It starts with C. C for cat. Okay, Concord. Yeah. Lovely. I forgot to mention, of course, when you have the masters here, I was just talking about the RC world. I really didn't want to. Yeah. It was the fastest commercial flying aircraft that it was. Mark II. Yeah, very short. Thank you very much, boys and girls. Okay, I promised you something, so let's fly. Are you ready to see this little helicopter? Yes or no? Yes! And be prepared for the next speaker. At the moment I'm flying it with something called as a gyroscopic. So she is comparatively very, very safe. There is a scopic manual, there is nothing automation about this. You get tired of it by the end of the night, next day you don't want to touch it. Because this helicopter needs a lot of training. There is a person who's flown here, but the most toughest, that makes it more interesting. I started flying this fast helicopters, you guys will laugh. After almost 18 years of my fixed wing flying, one day I thought maybe I can start flying helicopters. So you can imagine, RC hobby is a very serious business and it's not at all. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Gururaj Upadhyaya, Technical Coordinator of Aero Club, to present memento to Ramesh Karnik sir. Thank you, JP Rao sir, for your informational speech. Now shifting gears and delving deeper into aerospace education and entrepreneurship, let's welcome our speaker, Dr. M.R.K. Menon, with a remarkable background as an aerospace educator, entrepreneur, and CEO of Global Aerosports. His contributions have earned him accolades like the Indian Shiksha Award 2023 and the Hero Motorcorp Award for Rural Education. Dr. Menon, the stage is yours to inspire us further.
Alright, I won't take more than 20 minutes, okay? I know you are tired, you are hungry, maybe angry. Huh? You sat for, I don't know, 20 hours listening to aerospace, right? So I'm going to talk about the other side of it, how to have fun. Alright? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm glad Sir left. Okay. Because he is the only person here who is elder than me. So there is always some pressure. Let the slides be ready. But you know, who is the person who said that dreams are something that keep you awake at night? Do you know who said that? Huh? Who's that? APJ sir? I can't hear. No, you are reading the slide. Okay, no. Listen carefully because you are all very young and you heard some very fine talks from past students of this institution, from senior people in the Air Force, senior people in the Army, and Sir has come all the way from MIT and talking about space. He took us to Russia. All right? So there is something else that is part of this whole thing, that is your dream. I do not know how many of you have a dream, whether you dream of a pizza in the morning, or you dream of going to some fantasy land, or you dream of not taking the maths exam the next day. Dreams can be anything, right? So I am going to show you what my dream is. And you can laugh if you want, but I have pretty much done everything that I have shown you. I've pretty much done. I got 4 years left in my life. I'll knock off the other few things also. Alright? So before I start, I want to congratulate this institution for not only hosting a two-day event, but inviting all of you students and teachers. So when you get time, please thank them. These are students who work very hard on a very low budget, and we have all come from long distances to make this event successful. So I would like to thank one particular person. Her name is Sanjana. I think she's here somewhere. She has been in touch with me and with JP sir From the day they announced it, the day they invited us, sir, will you come? Sir, where have you reached now? Sir, do you need lunch? Do you need dinner? How are you going to go back? Don't worry. So that is the kind of spirit that brought me and JP here. Before I came here, these gentlemen, I've never known them. They have not heard of me, I have not heard of them. But now we are friends. And I'm so lucky that my career in teaching started at this institution in Cochin Naval Base. My father fortunately served the Navy and I got an opportunity to do the same thing. And now I'm into aerospace, but my qualification is Bachelor of Commerce, MBA, and now I'm doing my final year MCom. I have nothing to do with engineering, I have nothing to do with space, I have nothing to do with being a scientist. So I wear the ISRO badge for two reasons. One, that I represent ISRO's educational division. We have a complete education division. We are not the people who make the rockets and satellites. But people look at me and they say, wow, you're in ISRO. I'm not in ISRO. Okay? I've never been to ISRO. I've been to Trivandrum ISRO for other reasons. The second reason is that this badge that I'm wearing, any Indian can buy it for 300 rupees and you can wear it proudly. Because as Dr. Balbir said, when we go abroad, the greatest degree is not having a doctorate or saying I am from IIT or best thing to say is I am Indian and I love space, they know you have something to do with this world. Alright? I lived most of my life, 21 years I lived in America. I came back in 2008 and my dream started then. So I'll just show you 10 slides. And I'm doing all this for you, not for me, not for them. I'm doing it for you. You means the younger generation of our country. So listen to me, it might help you, okay? If you want to become a cricket player, you should not sit here. You want to represent India in hockey, don't waste your time here, go and practice. But if you want to be part of the most exciting thing in the world, that is space. Because it needs engineers, it needs scientists, it needs technicians, it needs physics, chemistry, maths, biology, medicine. Everybody is there on the International Space Station. My dream started when I first saw what Martin Luther King said. He's no more. In 1962, he said, I have a dream. And I lived there most of my life. So when I first heard this, I didn't understand because I went to America in 1989. By then he was no more. His dream was the black man and the white man should be equal, they should sit together, eat together, travel together. Since you all know so much about NASA, I'll tell you something. Till 1966, NASA did not allow black women to use the toilet used by the white man. They could not even drink coffee from the same coffee pot. That was how bad NASA is. And today we all speak so much about NASA, right? If somebody gives you a job offer from NASA, you will grab that because that is some big thing. ISRO is nothing. So from there I took inspiration. I said, what can I do for my country? And that brings me to the next slide. Sir, can you just move? This is the greatest photograph in my life. I'm now 67, my daughter is 43, my grandson is 14. He doesn't want to become an astronaut or a pilot, he wants to become a chef. Alright, he likes to cook, so be it. In 1961, John F. Kennedy became the President of the United States. Why I'm saying this is because he was the most handsome president any country has in the world even now. In 61, he became president. In 1962, at the commencement ceremony of Rice University in Houston. Houston is very famous in the space team. He made a statement that Americans should land on the moon in this decade. Decade, every 10 years. So in 1961, he became president. 1962, he made this speech. And 1963, he was shot dead, assassinated. Since I was in America, I went and stood at a place where he was gunned down. And I was crying and the American people were looking at me and saying, this Indian monkey, why is he crying? What does he have to do with Kennedy? He's not his president. I was so fascinated by him that I went to Arlington Cemetery in Washington and I stood by his grave and I cried again. Again the American looked at me, what's wrong with this Indian guy? Alright, so why am I talking about Kennedy? Kennedy made one of the greatest speeches, and that is called the moon speech. Just read what is written there. Why we chose to go to the moon. And that is how NASA and Roscosmos and all these space agencies, they started fighting against each other. Trying to overtake and be the first person to land on the moon or the first person to land on Mars, whatever that be. So this is a statement he made. I want you to listen carefully. You're an Indian and it might upset you when I say that, but don't worry about that. Just listen to the words. What Kennedy said is that we as Americans like to do the impossible because when we do the impossible, it brings out the best in us. I hope you understood the sentence. When we do the impossible, it brings out the best in us, and that is the spirit behind ISR. I think Dr. Balbir said that we are doing all the experiments and all the things that we are doing at 1/3 of the cost of NASA. 1/3, just imagine. $100 million in the spend, we get $33 million. And we are able to do all the things that they are able to do. The only thing we have not done is to land on the moon, and by 2030, 2030, we will do that also. Now, if you think that NASA is something big, ISRO is chasing NASA, there is another country, very small, that you may not even know where it is on the map. It is called United Arab Emirates. The Prime Minister of UAE, his name is Sheikh Maktoum. He has already sent 2 people, the first Arab people, Arab is 50, 100 countries are called Arab. Alright? The first 2 people to go to the International Space Station is from there. 2 more are being trained now to go to the moon. 2030, they are going to land on the moon. And India has not even announced that we are going to land on the moon. We don't talk about it yet. So I'll just move quickly because something exciting is coming up. Can you just go on? Now, I want to tell you something. You must be thinking that I'm a rich person. I'm not a rich person, I'm a teacher. Somebody asked me, who are you? I said, I'm a teacher. I teach in schools. Alright, so I've been teaching since 2008, that's 15 years. There's 100,000 students in 7 countries and 200 teachers. My doctorate is in aerospace education, not engineering. Don't ask me how to make a rocket. Yes, I can make a rocket because the Model Rocketry Society recognized by the Government of India, I founded it 10 years back. So we'll talk about a little bit of that because there are, I think, 2 schools here. My eyesight is not good, but I think there are 2 schools looking at your uniform, maybe 3 schools. So on behalf of ISRO, on behalf of Model Rocketry Society, on my own behalf and on behalf of all the people sitting in front of me, I will offer you a free program on rocketry and space if you can invite me to your school at a day and time that's convenient to you. I will show you how to make a rocket, how to launch it, how to put small satellites into it. You will go crazy. You will not go back to school. You will not go back to your class. I can promise you that, and I'll show you the pictures. You want to do that? I used to be in RC aircraft. That's how I met my friend here. But now from RC aircraft, I feel that I should go beyond the limit, and that is space. So we will conduct the ISRO space quiz competition. We'll give you beautiful prizes. And if you are good boys and good girls, we will donate some good equipment to your school also. Now I do not know where your school is, but if it is within this area, then definitely we will do something for you, I promise you that. Now if you look here carefully, this is a rocket we designed last year which can fly up to 60 kilometers. This was displayed at the Bangalore Air Show, and Dr. Somnath, the current chairman of ISRO, saw it. He said as long as it passed the safety test, you are able to launch it at Sriharikota will allow you. So we, our team, we thought about it and we said 60 kilometers में कोई मजा नहीं है सर, हम तो 100 kilometers हैं. Because only one university, the University of Southern California in 2018, they launched a rocket called Traveler 4 that entered space. Space is defined as 100 kilometers vertically, if you go, there's something called a Kármán line. We won't go into details, but if you cross 100 kilometers, we say that we are in space. There, the aeronautic science is completely different, as doctors have said. Okay, because density, gravity, all these things will come and go. So we are going to make the world's second student, listen carefully, student design, student build, student launch, student retrieve, student analyze rocket. Now how much does it cost? 3.5 crores. Do I have the money? No. Do I know where to get the money? No. Do I dream about it? Yes. Where will the money come? I don't know. Will it come? Yeah, it will come. Alright? I train teachers to teach rocketry and associated subjects. So it's a wonderful world teaching. So whatever I was doing in America was something completely different. I became a teacher because circumstances were like that, and I'm glad I took up space. Alright? This is a very important slide. Take a look at it. I will identify only one person here. Is the boy in the yellow shirt on the right side. His name is Abhigna. Watch that photo carefully. I met him when he was in 8th standard. Now he's in 10th. I can guarantee you that 25 years from now, he will be ISRO chairman. Now you'll ask me why? Because I have traveled the world, I have seen what children can do. Now there was a boy who was sitting there and answering questions. I have seen hundreds of boys like that. But the problem is, somewhere along the line, that child does not get the support. So when you are able to support a child, that child, if he is given all the opportunities in life, he will become another Abdul Kalam sir. So my goal as a teacher is very clear. Can I discover 100,000 boys and girls in the age group 6th standard to 12th standard who can be the future Tessie Thomas? Tessie Thomas is the rocket woman of India. In Chandrayaan 3, the top 5 scientists were women. So the ladies here, I will not say students anymore, you're all ladies and gentlemen. You're going to become the future astronauts and pilots and cosmonauts and juggernauts. Alright? So that boy, at this age of 10th standard, has already created a rocket using a software called Rocket Sim to design and build a rocket that can go up to 10 kilometers, fully controlled with a microprocessor that he has designed and he has made. And we are launching that in March in a place called Bolera. It's in Gujarat. We have to get permission from the government of India, which every month we get a new permission, we launch. We don't publicize it, we don't put it out on the YouTube and all that. Because it is a very dangerous exercise. I have seen 2 accidents, and after those 2 accidents, normally a person will say, I don't want to go anywhere near a rocket. Alright? So, just keep an eye on that boy. This is what I was talking to Babir sir. What is engineering? I mean, if you go to an engineering college and you take some courses, you write an exam, after 4 years, 5 years, you get a degree. I personally feel that degree has no value. Let me put it in another way. You have all heard of IIT, right? All of you have heard about IIT. My question to IIT is very simple. You have an aeronautical program. Have you ever done something that nobody else has done? I'll give you an example. In the year 1903, the Wright brothers made the plane when there was no computer, no cell phone, no calculators, nothing. They flew the first aircraft in 1903. 1 year before that, the elder Wright brother, he made a statement which I saw in a college in Bangalore. In the college it was written. You know who the Wright brothers are, right? You all know the names? Orville and Wilbur. Wilbur was the elder brother. Wilbur made a statement in 1902 saying, man will not be able to fly till another 20 years. But just 1 year later they flew. Alright, so my challenge to IIT and many engineering colleges, can you build a plane powered and flown like the Wright brothers? After how many years? After 120 years or something. With all the technology, all the money you have, can you build that plane? Then you are an engineer. Can you build a plane with cycle power, it can cross the British Channel? Can you do that? That is the kind of engineering college I want to set up. But I don't have time. I was just telling sir, I am 67, my life is 72. So I got 6 years to do all this nonsense. Okay, all right. We are short of time and this is a little way ahead for you, but we'll talk about it some other time. Some good slides are coming up. Now this is something very interesting. My connection with ISRO started when I was made chief mentor. Mentor means guide for starting the first aerospace innovation lab in the university. There are 7,000 students there. But I was just telling sir that because it's a government organization, ISRO is government, college is government, the government reels and turns very slowly. Whenever I go to them, they ask me, क्या जल्दी है सर? आराम से करेंगे, रॉकेट की तो बड़ी चीज थोड़ी नहीं है कोई, वो तो इसरो बनाएगा ना रॉकेट, आप क्या करेंगे यहाँ पर रॉकेट बना? This is the Hindi from that part of the world. So I have decided that I have nothing to do with the government. No more government stuff. जो कुछ करना है अभी करना है, private में करेंगे. Alright? Just 3 more slides. This is a slide that I am living for. This is my dream. Sir showed you the International Space Station, right? I am going to build the International Space Station on this Earth. Same size as the original one. That is as big as a football field. I am going to make it float. I am going to create microgravity environment inside that. Why am I doing it? Am I crazy? I have nothing else to do. How much does it cost? Together I need 100 crores. And how does it affect you? You as a student can enter it from one side and exit from the other side, and when you walk through it for 4 hours, you will see actual scientists doing experiments. That is how you fall in love with science. Not by going to the lab and taking a test tube and mixing something and saying, wow, bana diya maine. That 1 million times people have done that, no? But that is the beginning, you have to start from that. Next object is my favorite, that is the space shuttle. So together I need 100 crores and I need 20 acres of land. Can I do it? Yes. Will I do it? Surely. How much money? 100 crores. Do I have the money? No. Will I get the money? Maybe. Will you do it? Yes. So that is why I don't sleep. Because this is my dream. Because I talk about it, people expect that I will do it. Because that is my reputation. I have to do it. Okay? Next slide. In your life, you will always meet somebody who will transform you. Alright? Today you met a young lieutenant commander, a pilot in the Navy. You also spoke to one army officer, a very senior officer from the Air Force. You saw my friend. He's a sound and light engineer basically. And RC is his hobby. So something that they said, you will remember. Something that they said will give you hope. Same way, I became a teacher only because of this gentleman, APJ Kalam sir. I spent 4 hours with him, 3 hours, he didn't look at me, I didn't look at him, I sat like this in front of him. There was some cashewnut and some idli vada in front of us, he didn't touch it, I didn't touch it. I didn't ask him anything, he didn't care to talk to me. Then somebody introduced us. Then he started listening and then he said, you are teaching in colleges, stop this nonsense. This is exactly what he said. I want you to go to schools. That's how I started coming to schools. Now, there are 2 people who are important to me. One is Dr. G. Madhavan Nair. He was ISRO chairman in 2008, the man behind Chandrayaan 1. He has just released his book. He wrote it in Malayalam, now it's come out in English. The man on the right side, okay, let's move the next slide. This is a person that nobody in India has heard about, nobody knows, but he's a real hero. So I'm going to take 30 seconds, 1 minute to talk about him. His name is Radhakrishnan. He is the only NASA-trained astronaut selected from ISRO in the year 1986. He was supposed to have traveled in the 1986 shuttle expedition to the International Space Station. In 1986, the Challenger space shuttle, 76 seconds after takeoff, it went into an explosion. All the 7 pilots died. including Krista McCullough, the first teacher in America to go on a spacecraft. So I told him, he's now 80 years old, I said, sir, you are sitting here thinking that I lost a great opportunity, because after that accident, NASA did not fly the space shuttle for 5 years. So he's a government servant, he had to come back. So imagine his sadness that I was selected, I was trained, all the training that sir showed us, centrifugal and all that. He went and he did all the training. He's just waiting for the flight. And the flight took off and it exploded, 76 seconds. 1 week back was the anniversary. Just for your knowledge, 3 minutes and I'll finish. 24 astronauts have died in NASA to take man to the moon. 24 astronauts. In that, 3 of them died before the rocket even took off. Just imagine. Testing phase. And 7 died while it was traveling. And 7, including Kalpana Chawla ji, died when the mission was ending, 26 minutes before landing in Florida. I was there in New York and I saw it. I was crying. At this age, I was watching it on TV and I was crying, oh my God. That's the last thing that should happen. If something happened in space, that's another story. You're coming home, 26 minutes, your family is waiting to greet you, and then it explodes, you can't even find anything. Okay, this is almost the last slide. I build museums for fun. I have built 5 aerospace museums. I'm building the 6th one. Each museum costs between 10 and 35 lakhs. All the museums are in Kerala, unfortunately, because I live in Kerala. I have one in Chennai, and the biggest one I am building now, if you have heard, if you know Kerala, there is a place called Palakkad. There's a IIT there. Nearby, I am in talks with the school, everything is done. I am donating my last set of exhibits. I collect exhibits for fun. Like you collect dolls, maybe you collect books, you collect toys. I collect aircraft and space shuttles and things like that. So that is the last donation. Now in my house I have nothing. Nothing is there in my house. Just vacuum and my 5 cats. This is, I got interested in drone technology. So in Orissa, which is kind of a backward place, Sambalpur, I don't think as an Indian you even know where Sambalpur is. But if I ask you where Hirakud Dam is, the second largest dam in Asia, you will say, I know where it is. Hirakud. General knowledge, surely that question will come. It's in Sambalpur, north-west of the state of Orissa. It's known for coal mines, all right? Very poor people, but very high quality of education because they are one of the best engineering colleges. This is the last slide, after which I say, Khuda Hafiz, Jai Hind. Now, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of everything that you do in life? It's very easy to say that I want a flat in the most beautiful building in Bangalore. I want a swimming pool. I want a Ferrari car. Nothing wrong. Do all that. Enjoy all that. So let's say that at my age I've done all that. What is there to do now? How do you leave a mark? So now my entire life is dedicated to building a hospital for patients suffering from HIV. Most of the time in my chat, if you look at my chat group, I'm talking to people who are suffering from cancer or they are suffering from HIV. HIV is a state of affairs where you are absolutely normal. You look normal, you speak normal, you walk normal, but you are not normal. You are in serious trouble. These are people who have no money. Nobody will give them a job. If somebody says, I'm HIV positive, I'm sure you will not sit next to that person, which is wrong. So, I know that I cannot, in my lifetime, build a hospital. So what I've done is I've collaborated, and that's a big word that students should learn. It's called 21st century skills. Collaboration means learning to work with other people, learning to work with people you don't like, different religion, different food habits, all right? Critical thinking. Critical thinking means how do you think out of the box? How are you thinking differently from that person or that person, and the problem is the same? Communication skills. How do you stand here and talk? How do you use the laptop and do a projection? How do you make your PPT? Things like that. And there's one more skill which is very important, that is creativity. So the new education policy 2020 is all about creativity. Now I want to show you that also. Even though I am not a specialist in space, I am the editor for four of the largest aerospace magazines printed and published in India. I write an article every issue where I interview somebody who has become somebody in the field of space and I ask them the tough questions. And Dr. Balbir Singh has said, for the next issue you can interview me. So sir, I will definitely come. I cannot come to my young friend here because he was serving in the Navy. I'll need special permission for that. And you will not be able to answer honestly also because it's going to be difficult. Can you go back? This is the last slide. You all heard about Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck and all that, right? The creator of that cartoon is Walt Disney. Walt Disney Productions is the world's largest film company. They are in India also right now, okay? So Disney made a statement, he's no more, he's a cartoonist. He made a statement that you must always aim for the stars. Because if you aim for the stars and you miss, you don't get to the star, you may fall on the moon, and that itself is a big thing. After 50 years, America is trying to go back to the moon. Just think, the greatest country in the world, the greatest space agency in the world, 1969 they already landed on the moon. This is 2023 and they are not able to land. 3 weeks back they tried to land a lunar lander, automatically remote, it crashed. Now this month, I think 20th or 22nd they are taking off again. You see, so there is a dream that I carry. I hope that I've been able to share my dream with you. And I hope that you will have your own small dreams and make the dreams bigger and bigger and bigger and one day achieve it. So thank you very much for listening to me. Khuda Hafiz, Jai Hind, Make Up.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Vedant on stage.
So dear students, there are some rarely we have gone to so many places for organizing workshops, for conferences, for giving speeches related to aerospace engineering, or engineering related speech or some workshop we will do. But it is very rare that we find somebody means among students, because he's a very young student, very young student. Which class is he? He is in 6th class. Okay? So, having such a amount of knowledge, being in such a small class, you imagine that he will pass the 12th class and when he graduates, maybe engineer, what should be?
Pilot.
So his dream is to become a pilot. So I wish him all the best. Dignitaries who have come here, we wish him all the best. And from my side, open up for one problem. This is from our side, okay? That's promised to us. He's also announcing something.
On behalf of all of you, to encourage this young boy, I'm giving him my business card. So what you should do is show it to your parents, ask them to contact me, and I will be giving him a model aeroplane that actually flies.
One more thing I want to announce, particularly for the teachers who have accompanied, maybe all students who have come here, we will be having some teachers accompanying. A special request to them, so please send a group of students if you want to our nearest campus. I mean, I'm from MIT. You know MIT Manipal, right? all of you. So please send the students there. We have a very good drone data labs. We also have lab where we build nanosatellites. So please send them. Maybe you can contact me or any resource person and any, you can contact the authority, the director of it and all. We will arrange a trip for you. So please come and visit the campus. We will show you all the facilities, all the research which we are doing. That will give you some motivation and it will boost you, okay, to take that aerospace engineering into your career. Okay? Fine? Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Now, we will have a short question and answer session. So if you guys have any doubts, you can ask the guests. Yes, sir. Guys, any questions? Anyone? So now I would like to call upon Lieutenant Commander Divil Bharadwaj to present mementos to the speakers. I would like to call Devi Rao sir. Dr. Baldeep Singh. Dr. M.R. Menon. A heartfelt thank you to all our incredible speakers, the driving force behind the success of World with Wings. Your expertise has illuminated our minds, turning this event into an unforgettable flight of knowledge. Special thanks to our attendees for their enthusiasm